the stream. My name is Brian Craig, and this is where MAGA comes to talk. And we've got so much to cover on the program today. Going to talk about this tragedy with this anti-Semite that killed these two young Israelis in Washington. We're going to talk about the South Africa meeting that President Trump just made history with yesterday, and a whole bunch more. There's a lot to cover on the program today. A lot. This is one of the biggest news days that I can remember. It's a big one, no doubt about it. Okay, so. Welcome, everyone. If you're new, this is where MAGA comes to talk. Make sure that you subscribe, all right? I'm still setting up. Yeah, we've got a lot to cover. No getting around that. I'll be right back, guys. I'm just off camera. I'm still setting some things up. Interesting. All right. We are ready to go. But we got a lot to cover. A lot. There's no getting around it. Big news day. A very big news day. Welcome. Where is everyone located? Like what state, what country are you in? I'm always curious about that. Early in the morning here. Of course, I'm in Florida. Australia, welcome. Iowa, New Jersey, Ohio, St. Louis, Vegas, Kansas, Massachusetts, Boston, Indiana, Michigan, Halifax, wow. Buffalo, Coconut Creek. Just about every day is a huge news day. I know, it is. I remember the days where there was hardly any news some days, but not anymore. I mean, it's a big news day every day. If you're new, make sure you subscribe, guys. Vancouver, welcome. I've been binge watching a Canadian television show. I don't know if you know it in Vancouver, Corner Gas. I've actually watched the entire series. I'm watching it a second time. It's pretty funny. I like it better than Seinfeld, to tell you the truth. Although it's kind of like a Seinfeld ripoff. Indiana. I couldn't get into Trailer Park Boys. That wasn't for me. I remember when that came on. I watched some of the first episode. We'll be live shortly. Mike, the board op, he's stuck in traffic. So he said he's cutting it close. Because I'm not at the radio station today. I'm waiting to hear from Mike. Northwest Ohio, my home state. I'm from Columbus originally, which if you watch regularly, you should probably hear me mention it. I'm waiting to hear from Mike, the board up at the radio station. Welcome, Susie. Hello to you. If he gets held up, I'll probably start. Well, it depends on how held up he's going to be. If he's going to be really late, I'll probably start just online. I'll start the other YouTube stream. Make Britain great again. Good luck with that. England has fallen. The UK's in big trouble. Welcome, everyone. Yeah, I'm a little tired today. But tomorrow's Friday and then the weekend. I've been up since 1 a.m. 1 a.m. I've been up since. So I've been up a long time. I got kind of a busy day today. England has fallen. That was a movie. That was London has fallen, I think. Wasn't it London has fallen? Was that a sequel to White House Down? Might have been. Once I get my coffee in me here, I'll be fine. My espresso. Okay. Yeah, I got this new mic stand, and I think I got it set up right. Do I listen to Nicki Minaj? No. You kidding? No. I'm not a Nicki Minaj fan. Trump saved the USA, that's for sure. Okay, that's Mike. Oh, good, he made it. Okay. We'll be live in 2.5 minutes. There was an accident on the Florida Turnpike, so he got to the radio station a little later than he normally would, but he still made it in time to get us on the air. Trump is brilliant. I mean, he's just amazing. Of course I listen to Trump. I listen to his every word that I can possibly listen to. We'll be live in less than 2 minutes. If you're new, my name is Brian. This is where MAGA comes to talk. Make sure you subscribe. Who do I listen to with songs? No, people you would not like. Yes, Haku? No, Haku wants me to do something. I'll be right back. What do you want, Haku? What do you want? I don't have much time, man. Now he wants it. In or out? Okay, I don't have time for Haku. He wanted on our back porch. We have a huge screened-in back porch, and he wanted out there with a couple of our other cats. 30 seconds. Welcome everyone to the stream. We're going to be live on the air in less than 30 seconds. We got a lot to cover today. We're going to talk about what happened in DC. We're going to cover this great historical moment with the president yesterday and a whole bunch more. All right, stand by. 10 seconds. Welcome to the program, everyone. My name is Brian Craig. You are listening to Florida's longest running radio show, The Steve Kane Show, on the radio since 1977, celebrating 48 years on the radio in just a few short months. That's going to change to 49. And it's Thursday already. Can you believe it? It's Thursday, May 22nd, 2025. We've got a lot to cover. We're going to talk about the tragedy in DC last night coming up, but I want to start with this just incredible moment in the Oval Office with our great President Trump and the president of South Africa yesterday. Let me tell you, and I certainly want to hear your thoughts on this. Our number 888-465-2631. Not only was I so proud of President Trump yesterday, calling this guy out for overseeing the murder of people because of the color of their skin in a way that I've never seen a president call anyone out before, not to their face. But that was one of the most historical moments in the history of the presidency of the United States. Not just Donald Trump's presidency, but all the presidencies. I'm serious. When, we have had, since this country has been in existence, we have had leaders of countries that were allowing discrimination, murder, all kinds of things. Have you ever seen a president of the United States call them out face to face? Nothing like that's ever happened before. And this moment in the White House yesterday will be a moment that historians 200 years from now will look back on. This was absolutely amazing what happened. And I'll play some of it. I'm not going to play too much of it on the program today because it's been all over television, all over the internet. And I'm sure most of you have seen it. On my podcast last night, I showed pretty much the whole thing and broke it down, which I'm not going to do here, but if you check out my podcast, you can hear all of it, but I'm going to go through some of it today. This was amazing. When President Trump called out Zelensky a few weeks back, that was the first time we'd seen anything like that. But I got to tell you, this was a bigger dress down than Zelensky. It really, truly was. President Trump, I've heard people say many times, overuse this expression, they brought the receipts. I've never seen someone bring receipts like Trump. This guy denied that white people were being slaughtered for being white in South Africa. Trump said, dim the lights, and he showed the video. And then he had a stack of articles that was like 3 inches thick that JD handed him. Some of those articles I'd read myself in the last couple of weeks. And the guy sat there acting like he didn't know what was going on. He got fidgety in his chair. And then when it was over, he kept asking Trump for more money, more economic relief, more help. No money. Stop killing the white people for being white. Stop murdering innocent people. I couldn't believe what I saw from this president yesterday. I knew something exciting was going to come out of the meeting. I never dreamed it would be that. And of course, the media are upset. That idiot from NBC News immediately jumped in and tried to change the subject because, this murdering of the white farmers, they're murdering whole families, and then they take their land. And this guy's overseeing that. Think about all the massacres that have happened in modern history around the world. And what have presidents done? Nothing. Nothing. If Donald Trump were president on 9/11, the Taliban would have turned over bin Laden. You know that, right? Absolutely they would have. When I saw the way President Trump was yesterday, after he dressed down the president of South Africa, showed the video, had the articles, and that NBC guy busted in and said, if they're in charge of a genocide, why have them here? He asked the question like 4 times. What an idiot. President Trump had him there to call them out and dress them down and expose them in front of the world. That exchange in the Oval Office yesterday was viewed in every corner of the earth. And I must tell you, I was so proud of our president yesterday. Weren't you? It was beautiful. Let me play a clip of it. This is the South African president with President Trump yesterday. Yeah. Okay. And, the media that are CNN and MSNBC are having meltdowns over this, right? They don't want it covered. And why is that? And I'll tell you why. And it's very obvious. The liberals, even the white liberals, the liberals believe that the white South Africans deserve it. Just like they don't have sympathy for the murders of the Israelis because they think they deserve it. It's insane to me. It's completely insane. I believe that we should offer refugee status to any law-abiding, vetted white South African who wants it. And we can, since, some can go to Australia, here, elsewhere, I don't know. And we should cut off all aid and have a 100% embargo against South Africa until this is stopped. But you know what? It's never going to stop. And the Democrats, even the white liberals in the media, are outraged by this. They talk about the refugees from South America. Those are fake refugees. The refugees from South and Central America, they call them climate refugees. That's a racket. That's a scam. There's no climate crisis down there, all right? When I was in high school in the 80s, they told us by the year 2000 there may not be enough oxygen on the earth to support humanity because the rainforest was being chopped down so much. What happened to that? There's no climate. There's no such thing as a climate refugee from South America. It's a scam. Part of the woke con that was rejected when President Trump was reelected. These white South Africans are true refugees. I don't know how many there are, 6 million, 7 million, 5 million. You know, we would have to vet them. We want to have law-abiding people. We don't want to have criminals coming here. But any law-abiding white South African who's vetted properly, we should offer them refugee status in the United States. I've got no problem with that. Do you? How did our president make you feel yesterday? Did you feel pride? I have. Oh, man. I was so proud of him yesterday. That was just beautiful. You know, President Trump has raised the bar so much on what the American people will expect of all of our presidents in the future. And future presidents, they're going to be judged on this Trump standard. You don't go and send strongly worded letters or go out and talk in the Rose Garden to the press and condemn someone. He called him out on the carpet. In fact, you know what that reminded me of yesterday? That and the Zelensky meeting, by the way. The South African president yesterday in the Zelensky meeting, it reminded me of the days of the Celebrity Apprentice and The Apprentice when they would go into the boardroom and they had messed up their task and he was there exposed. Now, of course, the stakes are higher and much more important here. But I just thought that was absolutely amazing. And even after President Trump showed the horrific video and showed those god-awful articles, the South African president continued to ask for money from Trump. I couldn't believe it. And then he had 3 token white people with him. One's a member of his cabinet, one's a billionaire who's the richest man in South Africa. And he's only the richest man in South Africa because Elon doesn't live there anymore. And they were saying none of these things are happening. I don't buy any of that. We know what's going on there. It's been reported for years, around 15 years or so. This has been reported, and it's getting worse. So I'd like to hear your thoughts on our great president and the way that he handled this monster, the president of South Africa. I thought at first he was going to leave, the South African president. I thought he was going to get up and walk out. But all he was thinking about was handouts from the United States. He just wanted money. Trump's not going to give you any money. Stop killing people. Then ask for money. And then you still may not get it. I couldn't believe USAID is shut down, South Africa. Sorry. My goodness. All right, if you're on hold, hang in there. Our number is toll-free, 1-888-465-2631. 888-465-2631. I'm Brian Craig. It's the Steve Kane Show. We'll be right back. If you're on hold, hang in there. If you'd like to call in, the number is pinned in the live chat. I couldn't believe the guy had the nerve to ask for money like that. That just blew my mind. After all that, he's a crazy person. Crazy person. That's not a country. It's an uncivilized anarchy, is what it is. It's like Road Warrior there. It's exactly what it's like. Road Warrior. Not Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome, Road Warrior. There was nothing then. If you're new, make sure you subscribe. This is where MAGA comes to talk, and I'd love to hear from you. So give me a call. The number is pinned in the live chat, whether you agree or disagree. And remember, all the calls are screenless and unvetted. When you call in, I just put you on hold. And when I pick you up and say, what's your name? Where are you calling from? That's the first time anyone talks to you. We do not use a call screener. That's the design of the show. We do that on purpose. I think it makes the show much more interesting. I mean, this is just, I mean, the savage. Those videos are just scary. It's hard to believe. In 2025, we have these massacres going on by Hamas, by the South Africans, and the liberal media are involved in a cover-up of these massacres. It's disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. We'll be back in about a minute. This is our radio station break. That's right. I mean, there's some things that you are, you know, as humans, we're universally against. The massacre and murder of innocent people is one of them, but not the liberals. 30 seconds, we'll be back. Welcome to the new subscribers. About 15 seconds. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian. It's the Steve Kane Show. Call us on hold. Hang in there. We're talking about this glorious moment with President Trump calling out this monster, the president of South Africa, live. Talk about transparency from the Oval Office on television. I watched the whole thing. I want to hear your thoughts on this. And the sense of pride in our president yesterday, it was just, I mean, I've got chills now thinking about it. What an amazing president we have to do what he did there. All right, let's go to the phones. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
How you doing?
All right.
How you doing, Mr. My name is Troy.
Okay.
How you doing, Mr. Craig?
I'm doing all right. How are you?
How you doing? I thought I'd call in, and I said to myself, what I'm going to do, I'm going to call in, and I'm going to have a respectful debate and a conversation with you. And I think we can both come to a common ground and have this conversation.
All right.
You know what I mean? Now, I don't have no disrespect for people who they vote for. Whoever you vote for is your choice. But I just wanted to think about MAGA Republicans or Republicans in general is that with this president, he's not held accountable. He's not held accountable. The people on his staff is not held accountable. There's not a reality that comes out of MAGA. When you bring up things about Donald Trump, what happens is people don't sit back and say, you know what, you're right. But if you can bring up something about Biden or Obama or Clinton, if y'all bring up something about that to me, I can sit back and say, you know what, you're right about that. I can agree with you because we can agree or disagree on things about that. I just want to know, what has he done wrong in your eyes?
President Trump?
That you can hold him accountable for?
President Trump, since he came down the escalator 10 years ago, has done nothing wrong.
There you go.
So but what is something that you think he's done wrong that you think I should denounce?
I'm going to give you my insight in the most respectful, humane way.
By the way, before you do that, you must approve of the way he dressed down this murdering South African president yesterday. You're opposed to what they're doing in South Africa, murdering white people, right? You oppose that?
Murdering white people. Well, until I see.
Oh,
Until I
okay.
get more,
Okay.
more
So
insight on that.
it's been in the press for 10 years.
Listen.
Okay.
Until I get more insight.
Okay. So you won't. Okay, so you won't condemn the murder of the innocent white farmers in South Africa. Okay. So I just want to get. I just want the audience to have your moral standards in place.
Listen. See,
Oh my.
That's what I mean. There's a respectful dialogue I'm going to give you, Mr. Craig.
All right. So what? Now that we know where you stand, tell me what Trump has done wrong that you think I should take issue with.
Okay, now this is what I'm going to say to you now. I will condemn the murder of anybody, white, black, or indifferent. I don't accept any.
No, you didn't. You refused to do this with the South Africans. What do you tell me what you? Excuse me. No. You listen to me. Tell me what you think Trump has done wrong that you think I should take issue with.
I'm going to tell you. First and foremost, he sat back and he pardoned every one of the people that did what he did that had something to do with January 6th. He pardoned them. That's number one. Number two, he is a racist. He is a racist because he's sitting back and what he's doing is going over South Africa and bringing and rescuing these white farmers, per se, that are getting murdered. But yet, let's think about this. Yet, when he came into office, his first term, the Haitian immigrants that came into this country after a bad hurricane or a bad earthquake, when they tried to come to this country, he sent them back.
Okay. All right. Now let's slow down. Let's slow down. You made a serious charge. Excuse me. You said that President Trump is a racist.
Yes, he is. Definitely.
And your example of his racism is what?
I just told you. One part is when you sit back and you do what he's doing with the immigration, the ICE and the immigration, and just scooping up people and just moving them. Do you realize that Barack Obama has deported more immigrants than he did since he's been in office?
Yeah.
But the difference between Barack Obama and Trump is that he did it in a humane way. He did it in a respectful way.
So, all right, slow down. I'm waiting for the example of races. Are you saying...
I just gave you the example.
The deportations? We have over 20 million... Excuse me. In the last 4 years, over 20 million people illegally entered this country. Many of them are... Over 20 million people illegally entered the country in the last 4 years. Many of them are members of terrorist organizations, MS-13, the Trinidad, Aquafina people, and they are deporting people that are in our country illegally. You're aware that to visit another country, like if you were to go to Canada even, you need a U.S. passport. You just can't come into this country illegally and set up a life. Okay, they're deporting people, and when you say that he's not, you said though that he's inhumanely deporting people.
Yes.
How is it? What is he doing with the? Excuse me. What is he doing that's inhumane?
There's a protocol that you have to follow.
What is he doing that's inhumane?
I just told you the way that. What is he doing to him?
That's inhumane. Give me a specific example of the inhumane treatment.
Not going through the due process of what he's supposed to do.
Yeah, he is going through the due process. No, it doesn't go through the court system. No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. It doesn't.
Mr. Craig, it does. And you know it does.
You can't have, first of all, you can't have 21 million court cases for this. It would take 200 years. It would take 200 years.
Out of the 21 million immigrants that's in this country, how many of them are white? None of them?
I don't know. I used to know a guy who was white and was in the country illegally from Canada. Yeah.
From Canada?
Yeah, white. He was white.
One person. You mean to tell me out of 21 million, you knew one person?
Well, I don't know a lot of illegals, and I knew him a long time ago.
Right.
I don't know
So
him
if
anymore.
you don't, so
They're
if you
not.
don't
So are
know
you under
about
the
it,
excuse me? Are you under the impression that these people are being deported because they're white?
no, the people are being deported
Because they're not white?
because they're black or brown individuals.
No, that's
And that's why
that's
they're
not the
deported.
case. They're being
You mean to tell me that
excuse me.
21 million,
They're being deported.
21
They're being
million
deported.
immigrants,
No, that it has nothing
21
to do with
million
it has
immigrants
nothing to do with their
are
skin
part of
color.
a terrorist organization.
It has nothing to do with their skin color. They're here
It
illegally.
does.
No.
Another thing.
No. On this thing, we're not moving on. Not only are they're being
so much.
well, you're a caller, not my co-host. Okay, I'm up against a break, so we're almost done. But these,
like I said, that's exactly what I mean by MAGA. MAGA don't like to hear the reality of what's right.
No, if I didn't want to talk to people who disagreed with me, I would not have screenless phone calls. I take the calls screenless on the program. We have somebody that can answer the phones. I take calls screenless because I want people of all opinions to call in.
Mr. Craig, yeah, absolutely. Do you hear me? Listen, I don't know how other callers call in and talk to you. I call you by Mr. Craig because I'm going to respect you.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm going to do. And I'm sorry if my voice went loud.
No, they were brought here. Oh, fine, whatever. They were brought here by the Democrats. These illegals that are being deported. The Democrats who brought them in here illegally. That was the racist act. The Democrats have lost complete power, and they came to the conclusion that there's too many white people. So you've heard of the Great Replacement Theory. They were trying to replace us with people from Latin America. That's exactly right. That's true. That's true. Everybody knows this.
What you just proved, Mr. Craig,
is what? That I'm right?
No, what you just proved is that you're part of the same conclusion, that you are just like Trump, and you're just like the person.
Well, hey, listen, I'm just like Trump. On that note, we'll go to our break because there's no greater compliment than telling me I'm just like Trump. Thank you. I'm Brian. It's the Steve Kane Show. Back after this. On that note, I mean, that was a nice thing he said. He said, you're just like Trump. Thank you, thank you, thank you. What a compliment. Yeah. Wouldn't you consider that a compliment? If somebody thinks you're just like Trump, that's awesome. Absolutely. Thank you very much. That is a great compliment. Just like Trump. I love it. Now, if you're new, make sure you subscribe. We'll be back on the air in a few minutes, and I'll go back to the calls. Press 1 in the chat if Trump made you proud yesterday with the South African president. I was so proud of him. It was just beautiful. Beautiful. I never thought I'd see something like that. Absolutely. Look at all those ones. Trump pride. If you're on hold, hang in there. Notice he wouldn't condemn the murder of the white people in South Africa. But I'm the racist. Crazy. Doesn't even hear himself. If I didn't want people challenging me, I wouldn't take screenless calls. I don't have to take screenless calls. Nobody does that. We don't have to do that. We could screen the calls. They're completely screenless and unvetted. I have no idea who's on hold or what's going to happen next, what they're going to bring up. It makes the show much more exciting. I think it does, at least. And anyone in the chat that takes issue with me, call me. Now, by the way, you don't have to disagree to call. We'll be back in 2 minutes. 2 minutes. Now, guys, I'd like to tell you there's a link in the description of the video to my wife's Etsy shop. So if you guys could check that out, Ocean Breeze Art Studio. There's a link in the description of the video to my wife's Etsy shop. Go check that out. And it's filled with all original artwork that my wife Kathy has created. Ocean Breeze Art Studio on Etsy. There's a link in the description of the video. And she has stickers and umbrellas and everything else, suitcase, all kinds of stuff, all with her original art. And you can download it too. So go and check it out. There's a link in the description, guys. All right, we'll be back in about 1 minute. Yep, there's a link in the description of the video to my wife Kathy's Etsy shop. Check it out. And buy some stuff too, if you don't mind. Like her to wake up this morning and buy like, wow, some of the listeners bought some of my cool art. That'd be awesome, guys. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian Craig. You're listening to the Steve Kane Radio Show. There's one opening on our board at 1-888-465-2631. What we're talking about is this great moment of American pride that I felt with our great President Trump yesterday, dressing down this president of a murderous nation, murdering people just because of the color of their skin. And let's go back to the phones. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? You're on the air. What's your name?
Hello?
Yeah, you're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, this is Chef Chevy TV, and I'm calling from YouTube.
All right.
To the previous caller, he asked the same questions and paraphrased the answers. I mean, his questions.
What?
So I can answer them correctly for you.
What? What do you want me to ask? You want me to ask you questions?
Yeah, the questions that he asked you, I'm gonna answer them for him.
What question? Hello, dead air.
Hello?
Yeah. What question do you want to ask?
Hold on. You're in the background.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, we'll all hold on.
I'm right here, though. The same question that the guy he was confused on. Ask me those questions so I can answer them from a black perspective.
A black perspective? Who are you? What? No, I'm not gonna interview you. Why should I interview you?
I'm not saying interview me. I'm gonna answer his questions that he couldn't answer.
What question do you give me? A question you want me to ask you? What do you think? I'm an anthropologist? What question do you want to be asked?
Any question that he asked you, I'm gonna answer it for him.
No, I'm going to move on. Hey, appreciate the call. Oh my goodness. All right, you're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
This is Mike from Louisiana.
Oh, hey, Mike.
Hey, Trump is a master of finding the right way to put pressure on the rest of the world.
Now, I'm going to agree with Mike on that, no doubt. Mike from Louisiana is right about that. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Oh, good morning, Brian. This is Joan from Tampa Bay. How you doing?
All right, Joan.
I loved watching that interview there.
Oh, yeah.
He came with the receipts, and I'm in my late 60s. Several years ago, this was going on. This has been going on for several years. There's been many documentaries about it. Many people have been killed. And when this guy, this South African president or prime minister or whoever he is, kept asking for money, did he get the memo? We're not handing out money anymore.
That's all he did was ask for money. Even after Trump showed the video and those articles, he still had his hand out for money. I thought when Trump put the video on, I thought the guy was going to walk, but he couldn't walk because he had his hand out. He thought he was going to walk out with a check.
Yeah, but we don't do that anymore. He's talking to the wrong man.
I know.
He stopped it.
Yeah.
He didn't get the memo, I guess.
Yeah, and then he tried to bribe President Trump. He says, "I wish I had a plane to give you, but I don't." He was trying to bribe the president.
Well, he's a racist. Period.
Well, I tell people this a lot, and a lot of times people don't understand it, but you saw it here, okay? They think the killing of white people is justified. And look at the media. When Trump showed that video, that guy who's white from NBC News tried to change the subject to the Qatar plane. He was trying to, he didn't want his audience, he did not want a discussion about white genocide in South Africa.
So look at that high school child that was just stabbed. I mean, they're saying that that's justified.
Yeah, and I'll tell you this, that, the Joy Reid types with critical race theory, that was their plan for this country. They thought that blacks were the majority in this country, and they were going to be running the country forever. And could you imagine how we would have been treated by Joy Reid types? Oh my goodness! If Trump
happened because they have abortions, and all those abortion clinics were in the neighborhoods.
Yeah,
that those people
that's
were
right. All right, hey, listen, I appreciate the call. Thanks so much. Let's see here. The phones, I've lost track of what order you all called in. I'm sorry. Hold on. All right. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yeah, this is Richie. Good morning.
Oh, hey, Richie.
Good morning. I want to comment about South Africa. Now, my brother-in-law, I think I told you the story. He was operation manager for KLM Air France.
Yep.
He used to go 3 years in different continents. The last assignment he had was 3 years in the capital over there, to make South Africa. And to make a long story short, they gave him for free, for housing his wife, a 10-foot wall around a compound with 26 rooms and 26 locks and bars on all the windows.
Yeah.
In Johannesburg.
Yeah.
So the bottom line is, it was the most unsafe place that they went to in all the time he was with Air France. And I've got to ask you a question. When I was a kid growing up, this is going to pertain to some of your callers. They're going to call me whatever they're going to call me. But when I was a kid growing up, it was the Belgian Congo. It was, in other words, Africa as a continent was controlled by European countries. Okay, they were colonies.
Yes, that's correct.
And they all wanted their independence. Now, I'm 76, going to be 77 years old, so I was a kid when all this was taking place. You tell me, after 75 years, why after all these countries that had them as colonies, that were supporting them, that had everything under control, when they pulled out, how is it the United States has to be the sucker, having to spend all the money
it's the same thing in the Middle East. When the Europeans pulled out of the Middle East, it became what it is today. Chaos and war and endless fighting. That's right. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Bill from Louisiana.
Yeah, Bill.
I love your show, and I'm so proud of our president. And I listened to your cast yesterday, and I've got some history for you about South Africa. And I know you might want to do some checking into it, and you can verify everything I'm fixing to tell you. But all that's been going on ever since everybody's hero, Nelson Mandela, was president.
Yeah.
All the officials down there are black since Nelson Mandela, and they've been doing that ever since.
Well,
then.
listen.
And
Listen. Here's the deal. This has been going on for decades. Okay, I've been hearing about the white farmers for about 15 years in conservative press, and obviously Elon Musk, being a native of South Africa and being President Trump's best friend, the first bud, obviously. Elon Musk has brought the president's attention to this a little bit more than we've ever had before. But that doesn't change what's going on. And look, that caller wouldn't even condemn it. And look at the media. The media yesterday are attacking Trump, not the guy who's overseeing the slaughter, because they think white people should die is what the reason why. They think it's okay for them to kill white people.
It hasn't just been happening to the farmers. In Johannesburg, the white women were afraid to walk by themselves going to and from work.
Sure.
Because a van full of black men would pull up by her and kidnap her and find out where she lived and take her home to her family.
Yeah, I know.
Tie her husband and kids in a chair and watch all 7 of them rape her.
Yeah, it's
black
awful.
Police would not do anything about it.
Well, I believe
That's been going on since Nelson Mandela.
I believe we should all. Okay, I appreciate the call. I believe we should allow all white South Africans who are properly vetted to leave the country and bring them here, Australia, and find a coalition of other countries that will take them in. They got to be vetted and law-abiding, okay? I mean, we don't want any unvetted criminals running around. Now, it's hurricane season, and, part of hurricane prep involves a lot of things. Have your generator, right? Make sure you can put up your hurricane shutters, have some extra water and extra food, get batteries for the flashlights, all that stuff. But if you got a wet spot on your ceiling, you got a leak in your roof, and you want to take care of that. Calling Tom Laporta at Laporta Roofing is really the most important part of your hurricane prep, because no matter how much preparation you do, you can have the shutters on, you can have everything, you can have your generator going, you can have your flashlight batteries, you can have a pallet of water in the garage. But if you've got a leak in your roof and that hurricane force wind finds its way underneath your shingle or your tile and rips your roof off, well, that's it. It's off to Kansas. Call Tom Laporta at Laporta Roofing. Tom Laporta, who's been in business since 1988, by the way, he was voted one of the best general contractors and best roofers in South Florida. He covers both the east and west coast of Florida and everywhere in between. He works on every type of roof, residential roofing and repair, commercial roofs, schools, municipal buildings, office buildings, emergency repairs. If it's roofing, Tom Laporta can do it. Here's his cell phone number. You can call or text. This is Tom Laporta's direct cell phone number, okay? 954-604-4602. 954-604-4602. That's 954-604-4602. And online, LaportaRoofing.com. Callers on hold, stand by. We'll be right back. Oh, man. Great callers today. Let's see here. If you're on hold, hang in there. I'm going to go back to the phones after the break. We'll be back in just a couple minutes. Well, welcome, everyone. Oh, I couldn't believe that the guy kept asking Trump for money. That's what really blew me away. That's what really blew me away. That was insane. Yeah, true refugee. Yeah. Climate refugees is fake. You show me an island that the ocean has flooded and doesn't exist anymore. Okay. And I don't mean like a wave. I mean like, what island that had people living on it is no more. Okay. Then you got some refugees that are climate refugees. Maybe. We'll be back in about a minute. Mm-hmm. Bring back Zion. $30 seconds. If you're on hold, hang in there. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian Craig. It's the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest running radio show. We're talking about this historic moment where the president called out the leader who was the president of a Holocaust in South Africa, live on TV from the Oval Office. It was amazing. And I don't know why liberals are upset. Aren't you opposed to genocide? Is Trump derangement syndrome is pretty severe, guys. They're in favor of genocide now. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, good morning. It's Trish from Minnesota. I wanted to say that I was super proud of Trump, and that guy was looking for the exits. It was great.
Oh,
I felt like, he so elegantly and with class, he grilled the guy, and it kept going on and on and on, and then he hands him the big stack of receipts. I thought, that guy, that president was never happier than when fake news asked Trump about the plane from Qatar, because he's like, oh, good, the heat's off me for a second.
I couldn't believe when Trump showed the video, the South African president tried to act, where is that, Mr. President? I'm not aware of all of this. Those crosses. He says it's in South Africa.
Yeah.
Give me a break.
Play it off like, I don't know anything about it.
Yeah.
It's like, right.
Yeah.
So anyways, that's what I wanted to say. Thank you.
All right, appreciate the call. All right. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Brian?
Yes?
Oh, I'm sorry, Brian. Hi, Brian. This is Marcus. Marcus from Connecticut.
Hey, Marcus.
Thank you very much for taking my call. I wanted to talk about what what happened yesterday at the White
Yep.
House. I thought that was a phenomenal job President Trump did.
Oh, yeah.
That was, first of all.
It was better than the Zelensky. I didn't think something could better the Zelensky moment, but that was with the video and the articles. Oh.
Yeah, that topped it, definitely. I mean, I'm a longtime member of you at your show.
Oh, thank you.
Watch your, But the reason why I was calling is because many years ago, this was the year after the apartheid was abolished. This is 95. I was there. My family and I went to South Africa, Johannesburg.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember, that was my first time going out of the country, by the way. I remember when we got there, we was first in Zimbabwe for 2 weeks, and then we stayed in South Africa for a week.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember how when we got to Johannesburg, we was warned not to go out alone. We had like a van to take us around, and we stayed at this hotel. It was just so much crime, I couldn't believe it. And I was young. I was like 15 years old at the time.
Yeah.
I said, why is it so much crime? And they told me once the Caucasians moved out, that's when, things went, or I should say once Nelson Mandela came into office, that's when everything went downhill.
It became an anarchy. It became an anarchy is what happened. Pretty much.
Absolutely. But I do recall there was not only crime towards the white farmers, but it was also towards Indians, and they call, I'm not 100, I'm biracial, so we were called colored. So it was not only whites and only whites. It was colored and Indians also.
You mean like Indians from India?
Yeah.
Yeah, Gandhi actually started in South Africa, his movement, not India.
Right.
Yeah. Well, I remember in the 90s, there was a whole trend of people in the 90s. I knew a lot of people that when I was young too, they would go to South Africa on vacation. And I always thought, that's crazy. Why do you want to go to South Africa?
Yeah.
I mean, are you kidding me? It was on the news all the time back then, and it was not pleasant. But it's gone down the tubes even more. And what's happened is, it's reverted. It's reverted back to tribal times, and it's not a civilized country. It is an uncivilized country that's being run by barbarians and almost cannibals like Haiti. And
Exactly.
and what President Trump did yesterday was amazing. Marcus, I got to run, but I knew you weren't white because your name's Marcus. I don't know too many white guys named Marcus. When you said you're biracial, then it made some sense. Have any of you known a guy that's like white as me named Marcus ever? I haven't.
Yeah, I mean that's like usually it's with a K. I mean, my name is with a C.
Yeah.
That's like a German German or something, but it's a C. But anyway, but that's what I had to call it. And I thought President Trump did such a phenomenal job.
Well, basically, the point you're making is anyone who is not a black South African tribe member you're done.
Exactly. So if you're biracial, if you're white and Indian, you're being slaughtered basically.
Yeah.
And so it's, a lot of
scary.
People say, they're doing it for the black, for the whites, but it's not only for because
the thing about the white. Yeah, but they're targeting these white people in particular because they're landowners and farmland is very valuable. I mean, in America, I've never known a poor farmer. Most of the farmers I've known in my life are millionaires. All right, appreciate the call. Thanks so much, Marcus. Good to hear from you. Now, if you're on hold, hang in there. I want to tell everybody about the free doorbell camera offer from Sloman's. No matter where you're listening to my voice, call Sloman's for this free doorbell camera offer. Sloman's are going to give you a free doorbell camera that connects directly to your cell phone with the installation of your Sloman's Shield. Sloman's is also going to give you a free customized home security system and professional installation when you use their low-cost central station monitoring. You get an LED touchscreen, a motion detector, 10 contacts, a lifetime warranty, a backup battery, plus you'll receive a free doorbell camera with the installation of your Sloman Shield. Give them a call, toll free, 833-283-5050, 833-283-5050. That's 833-283-5050. All right, back to the phones we go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning, Craig. Randy from Mississippi.
Hey, Mississippi. What's up?
Your previous caller a little bit ago calling President Trump a racist, and then you had the other gentleman want to call in, wanted you to ask him questions so he can answer them.
Yeah.
Don't they know that they are representing a party that is Jim Crow, Margaret Sanger, the creator of the KKK, that owned the slaves, and the Republicans, like President Trump, is the party that freed the slaves, like Lincoln. I mean, do these people do not do their history? I mean, it's just,
yeah, they know all that. They know all that, but they believe something that is just so untrue. They know all that, but they've been brainwashed into believing that in the 1960s, all those bad, evil, racist Democrats became Republicans, and all those good people that were Republicans became Democrats. The big party switch lie, they believe that myth. So yeah, they know the history, but they think they all switched parties in the 60s for some reason.
Well, I think the reason why they're maybe clueless or don't want to or they don't want to know that is because of all the money the Democrats throw to them for votes, and then when they get voted in, then they forget about them. But it's every year. But good show, Brian. Thank you so much.
All right.
Have a good weekend.
Appreciate the call. You know, this moment with President Trump yesterday, there's going to be other moments like this with other leaders. It really is. And I'll tell you, I think he was incredibly respectful to the South African president, in my opinion. I think he was incredibly respectful. He called him Mr. President, and he didn't lose his cool. He lost his cool on the NBC reporter. I mean, he was angry at the reporter, but he never lost his cool with the South African president. And when he showed that video, you saw the South African president squirming in his seat, didn't you? I mean, he was really squirming in his seat. And when you watch the video, he brought with him a couple of token white guys, the South African president. One's a member of his cabinet, and the other one's a billionaire who is the richest man in South Africa. But he's only the richest man in South Africa because Elon doesn't live there anymore. But, you know, and when everything is going on, the aide closest to the South African president, he leans in, he whispers something, and he points to their token white billionaire standing behind him. And then this white billionaire, he tells Trump that none of these things are happening. You know, these white South Africans that say none of this is happening, have any of you thought that maybe their families are being held hostage? Right? Or maybe they've just sold out for business interest. But who would believe these token white people? You have to be out of your mind. All right, if you're on hold, hang in there. 1 hour down, 2 to go. It's Thursday morning already. My name is Brian Craig. This is Florida's longest-running radio show, The Steve Kane Show, on the radio since 1977, celebrating 48 years on the radio. And the anniversary of The Steve Kane Show is in August, every August. So come August, we're going to hit 49. Isn't that something? 49 years, The Steve Kane Show on the air. That's crazy. Wait till we get to the big 5-0. Holy smokes. If you're on hold, hang in there. If you'd like to call in, the number's toll-free, no matter where you're listening to me. Toll-free, 888-465-2631. 888-465-2631. And it's a toll-free call wherever you are. I'm Brian Craig. It is The Steve Kane Show. We'll take our break for the top of the hour and be right back. Don't go anywhere. Oh, wow, guys, look at this. I just got an email, and they told me to check out the website. They have these great new deals going on right now. Look at this, at mypillow.com with our promo code Kane. I got to talk about this on the air. The My Cross is now 50% off, the same cross that Mike Lindell wears. They have a version for men and women. Wow. The energy drinks, get your free 3-pack. of the energy drinks. These are great with our promo code Kane. The Giza Dream Sheets, which are made of 100% Giza cotton, the finest cotton in the world, just $69.98. Any color, any size, even king. Wow, look at all these new specials. I mean, look at this. He's got to go to trial. Oh, my goodness, June 2nd. Poor Mike Lindell. The beach towels, 50% off. Wow. Great deals. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian Craig. You're listening to Florida's longest running radio show, The Steve Kane Show, on the radio since 1977. Call us on hold, stand by. What we were talking about in the first hour was this moment of American pride when President Trump called out the president of a Holocaust, really, the South African president, in the Oval Office yesterday. It's absolutely amazing. And what have we had from our leftists today? Holocaust deniers. Oh, there's no massacre going on in South Africa. Oh, really? I'll take a couple more calls for people that have been hanging over, but you're welcome to call in about this throughout the show. We may recap some of it, but there's some other issues I want to talk about as well. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Once.
Hey, Brian, this is Eric.
Yeah, Eric.
Hey, Brian. Thing is this, man, about this South African president, that was amazing yesterday. But about the caller earlier about how President Trump is a racist, no, bro, it's not about being a racist. It's about being a nationalist. Like, we have the right to choose the type of people that actually are going to come into our country and benefit our country. Or we have the right to choose the ones who are going to come in here and just destroy it. Let's just say this. Would you let someone who is just on the street off of fentanyl just walk into your house? Or would you actually just have someone who is actually well-dressed, well-mannered, actually come to your door, actually come to you properly? These South African white people, they came with American flags. They didn't come with doggone chicken soup bones and stuff, voodoo witch rituals and stuff into our country.
Well, they were also no. I know what you're talking. You're talking about the Haitians. I know, and the Santeria people of Miami. Oh boy, no. What they were also vetted. Their backgrounds were checked to make sure they were law-abiding people too.
Exactly. These are people that will actually bring help to our economy. These are people that will work. They also speak English. So they're able to adapt it to our society even better. So I mean, listen. At the end of the day, we have the right. So if you call President Trump a racist, bro, I say he's a nationalist, and I stand with that all day.
And well,
call me Uncle Ruckus or whatever.
They've convinced them. People call you Uncle Remus.
Huh?
You say call you Uncle what? Uncle Remus? Is that what they call you?
No, Uncle Ruckus.
Uncle Ruckus. Who's Ruckus? Is
yeah.
that?
Well, if you ever get a chance, just look up Uncle Ruckus. It's pretty much like the conservative black man.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, here's the thing. Okay, this massacre has been going on for years and years and years. Trump's put a spotlight on it because Elon brought his attention to it. It's amazing to me to hear these callers. The first caller of the day, he would not condemn the murders of white people in South Africa. He pretended not to know about it. But that's what he called about. It's crazy.
We condemn the murder of anybody, regardless. And that right there, that's a political target right there. What they had in Haiti, like you said, that was a climate issue. It wasn't political. It wasn't aimed at them like that.
Yep. All right. Hey, listen, good to hear from you. Thanks for the call, man. All right, let's go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Helen from Massachusetts.
Hey, Helen.
Hi, good morning. I'm so proud of our beloved president.
Oh, yeah.
I learned about what was going on in South Africa when he first ran in 2015, and he announced. And one thing I want to say is that those lands that are being annexed, a little over 300 years ago, they were settled, I think it was the Dutch, and those lands were not occupied. They did not take lands away from any native Africans. They opened up seaports or depots for the cargo ships, for the seafarers. But they, again...
Well, I don't know about that, but this is what I know, okay? Apartheid was god-awful, and I remember the days of apartheid. It was a big thing, okay? And we had an embargo, and the United States had an embargo against South Africa because of it. And in fact, the first Lethal Weapon movie, if you go and watch Lethal Weapon, the original movie with Danny Glover, was it Lethal Weapon 1 or 2? It was about the South Africans, and they were running a financial racket because of apartheid, right, with Cougarans and stuff. I can't remember if that was Lethal Weapon 1 or 2. But apartheid was a god-awful thing. However, apartheid came to an end because the United States, President Reagan it was Lethal Weapon 2, okay. President Reagan put tremendous pressure on South Africa, and it continued with Bush 1, and it forced apartheid to end, okay. And now we have another president greater than Ronald Reagan. His name's Donald Trump, and he's applying pressure. If you don't end... apartheid was a form of segregation, although it was worse. There were very few whites in South Africa. But you don't replace discrimination, segregation, and slaughter with, you don't just change the skin colors around and say it's okay.
No, it's not okay. And they don't, and I'm not going to get into detail in what I've read because I've researched it, but they torture people to death. It's disgusting.
Listen. Even during apartheid, listen. Nelson Mandela's organization, before he went to prison, remember they used to burn people alive, surrounded in tires. Yeah. I forgot what they called it, and so it's always been a violent anarchy over there.
Yep. Also, the kicker. When the idiots annex a farm, they don't know how to farm. It's created food shortages in the area.
Yeah. All right. Hey, listen, I appreciate the call. I was just thinking, that was Lethal Weapon 2, just real quick. I remember, and there's a scene in that movie, it doesn't age well. Remember Danny Glover goes to the South African embassy? And he tells them he wants to move to South Africa, and they're like, "Why would you want it?" Because he's black. It was that doesn't age well. Okay, a couple other things. Let's see here. Well, there's one thing I want to bring up that won't take too long, and then after the break, I'm going to get into some of the other big issues because there's several big issues today. But you're welcome to call in about this throughout the show, and I will revisit it. I want to throw a question out to you. This is a very serious question. There's talk of our next MAGA candidacy coming, and there's talk of J.D. Vance and Marco Rubio being running mates to be the next MAGA president after President Trump. And Marco Rubio, not only is he absolutely amazing, if you notice, President Trump's always leaning on Marco Rubio, right? USAID puts him in charge of it, right? He needs a national security advisor. He makes him national security advisor on top of everything else he's doing. And this is the question, which at first you might think this is a stupid question. But if you think about it, I don't know. I like JD. I love Marco, okay? If Marco Rubio and J.D. Vance were running mates, who would you want at the top of that ticket? I'll tell you, I'd like to see Marco Rubio at the top of the ticket and J.D. Vance run for vice president again. He can be vice president again. There's no term limits on that. And I just don't see Marco Rubio being second banana to J.D. Vance. I like J.D. Vance, but he does not have the commanding presence that Marco Rubio has, in my opinion. I like him, and I would vote for him in a heartbeat, J.D. Vance. Don't misunderstand what I'm saying. But we've seen Marco Rubio at work on the world stage. We've seen him in these hearings lately where he's just filleted these Democrats. And you see how the president is always leaning on him. Who's most likely to be the second MAGA president between the two? Marco Rubio or J.D. Vance? That doesn't mean Trump's not going to run in 28, but we're going to have a second MAGA president after Trump leaves the White House. Who would you rather see the second MAGA president? Marco Rubio or J.D. Vance? And if they were running mates, who would be the top and who would be the bottom of the ticket? 1-888-465-2631. And it seems to me that Trump is leaning towards Marco Rubio to be the second MAGA president. He's always giving him responsibility, not so much to J.D. Vance. We all like J.D., don't misunderstand me. But Marco Rubio doesn't seem the type he's my age, he's Gen X, to be number 2 to J.D. Vance, a millennial. It just doesn't seem to fit. And Trump is leaning, vice presidents have nothing to do, and he doesn't lean on J.D., he leans on Marco. So it looks to me that Marco Rubio is the presidential apprentice. What do you think? 1-888-465-2631. 888-465-2631. It's our toll-free number, and of course you can call us no matter where you are listening. I got to talk about Coastal Weight Loss Secret. You know, I forgot my belt this morning, and I've been pulling my pants up and actually holding my pants up through a big part of the show. You know, my pants, some of my pants with nothing in the pockets don't stay on my body, and shorts too. Oh man. But if I don't, some of them will hang low, but if I put my keys in my pocket or my wallet, they'll fall off down to my ankles. And these jeans are pretty much like that, even though these are jeans that I bought maybe like 10 or 12 years ago, and they're so loose. I've been holding them up during the whole show this morning, and that's because of Coastal Weight Loss Secret. It is amazing. Okay, give them a call. I'm going to give you the number in a moment, and when you call Coastal Weight Loss Secret, make sure you tell them you heard about them on the True Oldies channel. And I want to stress, I have not done any exercise. And when I say any exercise, that doesn't mean I'm not going to the gym but walking the block. I don't walk. I don't do steps. I do nothing. I do zero exercise. First of all, I don't have time for exercise. And if exercise was a necessary... Now, if I did exercise, I would lose weight faster maybe, but about a pound a day is fast enough for me, okay? I don't have time to exercise, and if it was a necessary component, I would have failed. So I have done no exercise. Because somebody had asked me yesterday, oh, do you walk around the neighborhood? No, I don't walk. I walk, you know where I walk? I walk from my front door to the car, and then I walk from the car to the radio station. And then after the show, I walk from the radio studio to my car, and then I drive home, and then I walk from my car to my front door. That's my walking. So I do no exercise at all. I'm eating the foods I would normally eat. Wings Plus, Chipotle, Pollo Tropical, Culver's. Culver's should be a sponsor on our radio station, by the way. I'm eating stuff I would normally eat. Okay? Oh, yeah, and I'm not taking any prescription medications like Ozempic or anything. And I would never recommend people do such things. And it works, and I've lost all this weight, and you can too. Now, maybe you want to lose less than I did, right? Maybe you want to lose 20 pounds, or maybe you want to lose 200 pounds, or somewhere in between. They can help you with that too. Give Coastal Weight Loss Secret a call. Remember, tell them you heard about them on the True Oldies channel. And also remember this, no matter where you're located, call them. You don't have to be local in South Florida. No matter where you are, call Coastal Weight Loss Secret. They can help you do what I've done. Get rid of all that weight. 561-247-6300. 561-247-6300. That's 561-247-6300. And online, coastalweightlossecret.com. Call us on hold, stand by. We'll be right back. If you're on hold, hang in there. I'm going to go back to the phones when we get back. We'll be back in 2 minutes. Yeah, if you'd like to call in, the number is pinned in the chat. You could lose weight with Coastal Weight Loss Secret. I was in shock that the weight just came. I was in total shock. I didn't think it was possible. I didn't think I could do it either. I didn't think I could. But I did, and it was like effortless. I don't have time to exercise, man. I mean, you know, I wake up 1:30 in the morning. I'm going till 7, 8 o'clock at night. Where am I going to fit exercise in, right? We'll be back in about a minute. If you're new, make sure you subscribe, guys. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian Craig. It is Thursday already, and this is the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest-running radio show. The big, beautiful bill has passed the House. Very exciting. 1-888-465-2631. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, this is Chef Chevy TV.
One call per day. It's one call per day.
I'm here to clear this up.
One call per day. All right, you can call tomorrow. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
I'm the ghost of Jeffrey.
All right, there we go. Oh, my goodness. Have something good, okay? Have something good. So the big, beautiful bill is passed. That's awesome. And, you know, I was telling you guys yesterday, passed the House. I was telling you guys yesterday, okay? A lot of people are going to say, this isn't in it, that's not in it. The big, beautiful bill passing, it is not the final bill. It's going to go to the Senate. They're going to make a bunch of changes. They'll pass it. Then they have this thing called reconciliation, which is all this parliamentary stuff they do in the Congress. Then they make more changes. And before, all this happens before it goes to the president, okay? So if there's when the details come out of what they have passed, if there are things in it that Trump has promised but are not in it, chill out. Always trust in Trump. How can you not trust a man who did what he did yesterday? Hold on. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
This is Donald.
It wasn't funny the first time. Oh my goodness, I got to tell you. Okay, if you're on hold, hang in there, guys. There's a few other things that I want to touch on that are important, and I will get to the incident shortly that happened in DC last night. Okay, guys, because that is most definitely important, and I'll get to that. Yesterday, I was talking about the Pardongate. And Pardongate is a big thing. And now we're getting some information. Ed Martin and The Blaze has done some reporting. And a lot of people are trying to take credit for this. But this story was broken by Glenn Beck's The Blaze. Let's give credit where credit is due. And it is a very, very amazing story. Listen to this. This is from The Blaze. Ed Martin is saying that a whistleblower, they have a whistleblower, has come forward, and persons of interest in the Pardongate and the Autopin Gate have already hired lawyers. So let me read through this article. This is in The Blaze. Ed Martin, the incoming Department of Justice pardon attorney. Now remember, this is the one that they stopped from being the U.S. attorney for the District of Columbia. Judge Janine has that position now. Ed Martin, and they did us a favor by him having this job and not that one. Ed Martin, the incoming Department of Justice pardon attorney and director of the Department of Justice's Weaponization Working Group, announced he was looking into the Autopin pardons issued in the final days of the Biden White House. It turns out, however, that he began digging into the matter while still was the intern U.S. attorney for the District of Columbia. Martin revealed, this is amazing, Martin revealed that his he just revealed this week. Martin revealed that his investigation into the use of the Autopin has been underway for weeks, that he has reached out to members of the Biden family, that some person of interest have lawyered up, and that a whistleblower has already come forward with allegations. And this is a well-placed whistleblower. This is in The Blaze. I did post this on my X, if you want to read the whole story. I had a whistleblower in my office 10 days ago, senior Democrat, saying, look, it was one of these three people that controlled access. This is to the Autopin. And they were making money off of it, Ed Martin told Mark Halperin. And we've got names. Ed Martin indicated the whistleblower was part of Biden's presidential campaign in 2020. When pressed on the identity of three alleged exploiters of the presidential Autopin, Ed Martin noted he had to answer carefully rather than explicitly identify potential abusers of the Autopin. He provided Mark Halperin with the names of gatekeepers who were dominant characters in the White House. Martin identified the following three gatekeepers. Ron Klain, it looks like Klan to me. He says it's pronounced Klain, but it looks like Klan to me. That's Biden's White House Chief of Staff. He was Chief of Staff from 21 to 23. And he was still around. Anita Dunn, a senior advisor, and she was in the Obama White House, Anita Dunn. And Barack Obama's former personal attorney, Robert Bayer. So we've got the ruling council, is what it's being dubbed, And I'm not shocked at Anita Dunn and Ron Klan here. So they've got a whistleblower, a senior whistleblower, and they've given them names, and they've lawyered up. This auto pen is a real thing, and they're going to get to it, and they're going to get to the bottom of it. And I started to see photographs of the auto pen, and you know the auto pen is it's pretty big. It's like the size of a big office copy machine. It's not something that I don't think you'd have to be a strong person. I don't think one person could just pick it up. It looks pretty heavy. It looks like you'd have to roll it around. But yesterday I was sharing with you, we found out it takes 5 signatures to access it. So we've got a ruling committee of 3 that were running the country. And they're saying they were taking bribes to do it. This is beautiful. We knew people, and by the way, Joe Biden's involved in the presidential ruling committee as well. But but no one whose name is Biden is going to go to jail, except one day Hunter may, because he's been a screw up his whole life. It's only a matter of time before Hunter gets into some legal trouble with a prostitute or drugs again, and he won't have daddy to take care of things. But so far as the politics inside Washington, no one named Biden is going to go to jail on that. But these others, they will. This is so big. And if I remember, this goes back to Obama. And, you know, Anita Dunn, she, correct me if I'm wrong about this, guys, but wasn't Anita Dunn the woman in the Obama White House that put the Christmas ornament with Mao on it on the White House Christmas tree? Remember that? Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was Anita Dunn because there was a big controversy around her. Obama had the Christmas tree up. It had a big old ornament with Mao on it. And I just remember her being connected to it. So was Anita Dunn the one that put the Mao Christmas ornament on the Obama Christmas tree? Am I right or wrong about that? Let me know. I think she was. So was she taking money from China over that? All right. We're going to take our break for the bottom of the hour. I'm Brian Craig. It's the Steve Kane Show. Our number, 888-465-2631. Call us on hold. Stand by. We'll be right back. I'm pretty sure it was her. Pretty sure. Yeah, I'm looking at some old articles about it. Okay, now I got it straight. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian Craig. It's the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest-running radio show. We just passed the halfway mark of this Thursday edition of the program. If you're on hold, hang in there. If you'd like to call in about anything we brought up so far, brought up quite a bit, the number's toll-free, 1-888-465-2631, 888-465-2631. All right, so Anita Dunn, I looked it up. This was, I mean, my goodness, this was 15 years ago, but I remember it. She had, what happened with her, there were two incidents with Mao. There was the White House Christmas tree with the Mao ornament on it. White House said it was an accident, a mistake. Who left that behind? I don't think the Bush family did. But Anita Dunn, she worked in the communications department, which is very strange because she has a nervous tic. She has something called lizard tongue. When she speaks, she licks the top of her lip constantly. It's very bizarre. Glenn Beck got her fired from the Obama White House. If you remember, he got Van Jones fired from working for Obama, then Anita Dunn. And Glenn, and I tried to find this video during the break, but it's been 15 years. I'm sure it's around. I just don't have a lot of time to search. I couldn't find it during the break. She was Anita Dunn, who we find out, according to this Biden whistleblower, was one of the four-person ruling council of the last 4 years. The number four person was, Jill Biden of the auto pen. She gave a speech to a church and said her two favorite political philosophers were Mother Teresa and Mao. And Glenn Beck made that a big deal. Glenn Beck was a big deal at the time, and Obama rid her of the White House work because of Glenn Beck exposing that. But she was back, and she got promoted. She was part of the ruling council of America the last 4 years, illegally using the auto pen, Anita Dunn. Okay, according to this story in The Blaze. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Eric. I'm calling from Canada.
All right. Hey, Canada. Welcome, Canada. What's on your mind?
Well, it's not in my mind. I can't say in my you guys people. Well, most people.
Can you speak up? It's hard to understand you. You're mumbling a little bit. Speak a little clearer, please.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Can you hear me much better?
I could hear you. I just couldn't understand you. But you're mumbling less now. Yes.
Yeah, I'm just saying. I'm talking from Canada, and pretty much, and I do like your show time to time. I watch it when I got free time, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And pretty much, I got a question for you.
Okay.
In terms of relationships and everything.
Ask.
You know what Trump done in terms of Canada, tariffs and everything? It's like a lot of conflicts between Canada and the United States in terms of
that's right.
trade deficits.
Yes.
Right?
Correct.
And pretty much, I'll be honest with you, we a lot of conflict. It's a lot of conflicts in Canada. Even it's proven. We're afraid about it. But also, I wonder, you guys got most likely concept in America. Why in America most likely don't make any sanctions to like groups of terrorists in terms of promote Islam around, you know, like Islamic radicals.
Are you asking why are we giving Canada a hard time and not Islamic terror groups?
Yeah.
Is that what you're asking?
No, it's like It's most likely they're
Well, hold on a second. I'm just a little unclear. Start the question over, okay? Because I heard what you said, but you're mumbling it. This is not a Canadian accent. What kind of accent is this?
well, it's French Canadian.
Oh, French Canadian. Oh my goodness, that's the worst. Okay, go ahead. So what?
Well, probably in America they don't know. But
The Canadians don't even. You guys don't even like Canada. You guys were going to leave Canada back in the 90s. If it wasn't for the Indians in northern Quebec, Quebec would be its own country right now. Okay, repeat your question.
No, it's not because of that.
I don't care about that. I don't care about that. So what's your question? Why about the United States and Canada?
Well, in terms of tariffs, we got. I understand the concept of tariffs because.
Yeah.
Well, most likely.
Yeah.
I know that even put it this way, we don't got a good leader in Canada so far. So my question for you in American politics: how do you guys eliminating waste and taxes? You know, what is the idea of Trump eliminating wasting the taxes? Because even with all the deficits goes, they're planning to invest in America.
Okay, I'm hearing some of what you're saying. I'm hearing what you're saying, but I'm not understanding the question. Are you asking why we're giving Canada a hard time with the tariffs? Is that what you're asking me?
No. I thinking to invest in America, right? But I would like to know, because I for taxes, you know. I would like to know what is the idea of Trump or the administration of the federal government to eliminate waste and taxes, you know.
Alienate who?
Taxes.
Taxes?
Yeah, it's like, for instance, the deficits. You guys got a big deficit, right?
Yes, in large part because of you.
Yeah, it's part of it. I agree, but in terms of the federal spending, you know, it's not like I understand.
The reason we have a deficit. Okay. Why do we have it? The reason we have a deficit is because we've had corrupt people running the country, supporting the world, like supporting Canada. That's why we have a deficit, and Trump's changing that.
Okay. So, for instance, there are some departments, I don't know, some departments in the Congress, I don't know, they still...
Hey, listen, we're not having a language barrier, we're having an accent barrier.
Oh, hold on.
But I appreciate I can hear you, but I'm having a hard time understanding you. And your questions aren't that interesting. It's not that I can't hear you. The accent's heavy, and what you're talking about is not interesting. I know. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yeah, this is Art from Boca.
Yep.
I have a quick question. You were talking about Cuomo, and you were disappointed he wasn't arrested, so was I. But what happened to his confession that he lied to Congress? How is that handled, and why has that been done?
Well, because he's part of the deep state. You know, it's very. I was talking about this on Monday.
Yes, I remember.
Okay,
I couldn't get through.
But I'll recap it. What I said Monday. If Comey planned on getting arrested, in fact, he did an interview with Nicole Wallace on Monday, accusing Trump of lawfare. He wanted to get arrested. If he would have been arrested, the big beautiful bill would not have passed this morning in the House. It would have shut down Washington, D.C. And I think that the whole Comey shells in the sand was a pathetic attempt at these people to shut down the Trump presidency. That's very popular in doing so much. And I think that President Trump realized this, and they made a decision not to arrest him for that purpose.
To hold off. Okay. Yeah, I thought that could have been done the first month of Trump coming back in presidency. You know,
listen. Smart people choose their battles, right?
Yeah.
And that's what that was.
I got you. I understand. All right. Hey, keep up the great job.
All right. Appreciate the call from Boca. All right. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, how you doing? This is me from here.
Who's you? Who's me? What's your name?
I got to make a comment on the last caller from Canada. He sounded like Peter Lorre in Casablanca. Did you get that accent?
Maybe.
Follow me?
No, I know
Hey,
I know
listen,
Peter
I wanna
Lorre in
comment
Casablanca.
I
Yeah.
saw Trump. I want to comment on the South African thing because I seen the video. Look at the girl, the black woman, standing next to the TV, looking down on the ground because she couldn't even look. What do you think about that?
I didn't notice that, but I guess she was looking down in shame.
Go ahead. Hey, bro, listen to me. Look at the video. They got the camera right at the screen. The black lady standing right next to it, looking down on the ground at the whole
Well,
thing.
what do
She
you
couldn't
make?
even
Well,
look at the video.
you saw it, so what do you make of it?
What do I make of it? They don't care.
No, when you
They
look,
don't care.
somebody looking down like that is looking down in shame and embarrassment. So that they do care, or they wouldn't feel shame. Just like the South African president was turning around in his, got all fidgety in his chair like he had had an accident in his pants when the video was playing.
And then this guy, the president or prime minister, has got the stones to keep asking for money. What is this here? What's going on here, Brian? What's going on in this country? Really, take a good look, hard look.
Did he get the money?
Really
Did Trump give him a check?
No, he'll never give him a check.
That's
hopefully.
right. So good things are going on.
You got two beautiful kids. You got two beautiful Jewish kids that are going to engage themselves to be married and shot down in cold blood.
That's right.
Of the
All right, listen, I
America.
appreciate the call. We've gotten into the weird voice segment of the show with the last two callers. After the break, I am going to get into the terrorist act in Washington, D.C. Make no mistake about it. That was Islamic terrorism in D.C., murdering those two Israeli kids. We'll get into that when we get back. Your calls certainly are welcome. If you're on hold, stand by. Our number is toll-free, 1-888-465-2631. 888-465-2631. It's the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest running radio show. I'm Brian Craig, back after this. Hey, Barry, it's Brian. Hey, we'll be back in about 30 seconds or so. Okay, wait, hold on. All right, welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian Craig. You're listening to Florida's longest running radio show, The Steve Kane Show, on the radio since 1977. It's time to check in with Attorney Barry Siegel from the Siegel Law Group. Attorney Barry Siegel, what do you have for us today?
Well, good morning, Brian. We get asked all kinds of questions regarding our areas of practice, estate planning, elder law, and probate. And, of course, over the years, we've discussed many of those issues on your show here. But really the best way to get all this information is to come to one of our workshops. I mean, people ask us, what is probate? How do I avoid probate? How do I make sure I don't run out of money during my lifetime if I get ill or if my spouse gets ill? What's the best way to leave our assets so that our children don't lose it subsequently due to divorces, lawsuits, creditors, all of those things and much more. We get really into that during our workshops, and we also have questions and answers where you could ask your specific questions. and get your answers. We happen to be having one of our seminars this afternoon in West Palm Beach, in downtown West Palm Beach.
Oh.
And so if anybody, I know we still have a little bit of room left, so if anybody still wants to attend today, it's going to be this afternoon, 2 p.m. in West Palm Beach downtown. They can give you the details when you call. And of course, if you want to come to any other workshop, we do other ones also in Boca Raton regularly. You could just either call our office or go to our website, which will list the upcoming workshops, and you could even register right on our website. So if you want to make sure that the future of your family is set up and secure and everything is going to work out properly and not leaving a mess behind, and if you want to get your questions answered, call us. Go on our website and get scheduled to come to one of our workshops.
Yeah, and I'll tell you a couple things about the workshop, okay? Maybe more than a couple, because I've been to a whole bunch of them, okay? Barry Siegel gives a presentation, and you go through everything with the Revocable Living Trust, as well as the last one I was at, you also talked about the Medicaid planning, too. And you explain everything in so much detail, it's amazing, but you also have many members of your staff there, which include other attorneys that you have at the Siegel Law Group. And I noticed after people were they were asking questions during the presentation, but also after people were talking to you and some of the other attorneys that work at the Siegel Law Group, and were asking all kinds of questions. And it was very informative. And I think another benefit, Barry, is people get to know you, and they get to know your team at the Siegel Law Group, because you're making decisions about your family's future, and I think it helps for people to get to know you and your team in person, because they're putting so much into your hands. So listen, guys, if you've never been to a workshop with the Siegel Law Group, call the one today in downtown West Palm, but they do have them regularly. Here's the number. It's toll free, 855-FLA-3782. 855-FLA-3782. And the website is SiegelLawGroup.com. That's SiegelLawGroup.com. All right, Attorney Barry Siegel, we will finish out the week tomorrow.
All right, I'll talk to you tomorrow, Brian. Thank you so much.
All right, take care. All right, so this terrorist act in D.C. killing the two engaged Israelis, it was a very strange thing, because after he murdered them, he went and sat down there. It's almost like he was going to get away with it. And he had somebody call 911, and they came and arrested him. And this audio is going viral. This is I'm calling him a terrorist. I know everybody else called him the shooter. I consider this to be Islamic terrorism. I don't care if he's not Islamic. This was anti-Semitic, anti-Israeli, Islamic terrorism. This is him during his arrest. Okay, yeah, Free Palestine. Where have you heard that before? Yeah, from your friendly neighborhood Democrat. That's where you've heard it. So, what's going on here? Yesterday, Marco Rubio had an incredible exchange with Senator. I mean, he was just cleaning the clock of these senators yesterday, the Democrat ones. They're a bunch of idiots. And they asked him about the deportation of the students, that are here on these different visas. The reason this happened yesterday, I don't know what this guy's whole background is yet. It may already be out there. It wasn't all. His last name is Hispanic, but that doesn't mean anything. Remember Jihad Johnny Walker Lynch? He was an Islamic terrorist. Yeah, but what's happened in this country is something that I never thought I would see. The return of anti-Semitism. We had almost wiped out anti-Semitism in America. And, living in South Florida for almost my entire life, when I was young, I would meet a lot of South Florida Jews who would tell me how bad things used to be. And I remember when I was a kid, even in middle school and high school here in South Florida, You know how when you go to Publix, a lot of the retirees are the baggers at Publix? When I first moved to Florida, you wouldn't believe how many Holocaust survivors were your bagger at Publix. And you knew because they had the numbers on their wrist. It was crazy. Now, those, sadly, they're gone now. But I would hear stories that I couldn't believe the level of anti-Semitism in South Florida. I remember one of Steve Kane's best friends who passed away sadly years ago. Remember attorney Richard Essen, the DUI lawyer? He lived his whole life in Miami, and he told me, he would tell his stories. I didn't realize how bad it was for Jews in Florida, that there was segregation going on. We know that the Democrats wouldn't let blacks go to certain beaches. That's true. They also wouldn't let Jews go to certain beaches. There was segregation against Jews. And there was a lot of anti-Semitism years ago, and we had virtually wiped it out. And that does, listen, that doesn't mean that we virtually wiped out racism too in this country, and it came back. Wiping out anti-Semitism or wiping out racism doesn't mean everyone's going to like Jews or whites or blacks or anything, okay? But as a country, those people that are racist and anti-Semitic were on the fringes of society, and it's back. Racism and anti-Semitism. So why is that? And it's simple. No one wants to say it. 3 words. Barack Hussein Obama. That's what brought it all back. Barack Hussein Obama. In Obama's 8 years, which you look back at his presidency, it seems to be kind of like a mediocre nothing presidency. That's not true. During the Obama era, they did massive hiring in the bureaucracy of people that think like them, racist and anti-Semites, pro-Islamic terrorist type people, okay? A lot of people remember, Joy Behar on The View, when Obama was new on the scene, she called him Barack Osama. Joy Behar on The View called him Barack Osama bin Laden. There were senators on the floor of the Senate. One of them was Ted Kennedy, but there was others that called him Barack Hussein Osama. It was a regular thing. And he brought a lot of Muslims in. They did a lot of recruiting of school teachers, in the Obama era. And that's why you got a lot of this weirdness going on. Obama brought in, we talk about what's going on with the southern border, and he did a lot of deportations. Yeah, he did a lot of deportations of South Americans and Central Americans. But Barack Obama was responsible for mass immigration of Muslims into our country. Mass immigration. And they've infiltrated our education system, the colleges and universities. But it's done a lot of damage. And this anti-Semitism, and when I talk about racism, I'm talking about the critical race theory people, the Joy Reid types. I'm talking about the anti-white racism from liberal blacks, like you hear from some of our callers. Barack Obama brought that in and brought back anti-Semitism into this country. All that you're seeing is the Obama generation. And the anti-Semitism, and it's being spread by people like Candace Owens and Mark Dice. And there's a lot of people that have platforms with millions of people who listen to them every week who say, well, Trump is America first, but is he really America first when he supports Israel? You hear a lot of this going on, okay? And I never thought I'd see the day that anti-Semitism was commonplace as it is right now, because I thought it was pretty much gone. But it's not, and it's back hardcore among millennials and liberal Gen Zers. And Candace Owens I single her out a lot because it's just so sad, and in the not too distant past, if there was an Islamic terrorist attack like happened in DC, where these young people who were going to get married were murdered, you would have many Jewish voices speaking out, but we don't have that in this country now. We don't. And some of it is because I talk to people. A lot of Jews are afraid because there's not only a rise of anti-Semitism. It's not just coming from Muslim people. It's coming from Christian people like Candace Owens, and a lot of Jews are afraid. And it's pretty frightening what's going on here, and I challenge it. Any time it comes up, I support Israel. Okay, Israel is the victim in this Gaza affair. They were attacked in a sneak attack on civilian targets where they raped and murdered young girls at that concert, kidnapped some of them. Then when they were done at the music festival, they went into the local neighborhoods and broke into people's homes early in the morning and did the same. Okay? It's god-awful what happened there. The people in Gaza, if they're being victimized by Hamas and Iran, who's backing all of it. And this god-awful terror attack last night in Washington, D.C. happened because of the Democrats and all of these anti-Semitic media people and these anti-Semitic influencers that are trashing Israel and accusing Trump of being controlled by Jews and all these stupid, absurd things. Now, I want to talk about Joe Thomas. Annuities are an amazing thing. There's all kinds of different financial products, 401ks, IRAs, money markets, CDs. There's all these different things. People talk about them all the time. But one of the things that makes there's more than one, but one of the big things that makes all of those investment tools or instruments or whatever you want to call them or products different from an annuity is that with an annuity, you're guaranteed an income stream, a revenue stream. You're guaranteed income for the rest of your life. That's amazing. On top of the fact that your money is never at risk. No matter what happens, your principal's fine, but you're guaranteed an income stream for the rest of your life. And I asked Joe Thomas when he was in studio a few times ago, I said, when you have someone who comes in who's wealthy, a high net worth person, and somebody who's a middle class person, and they come in, they talk about annuities, what's the differences that they want? And he said they both want the same thing, the rich people and the middle class people, right? They want a revenue stream. They want income. That's right. That's an amazing thing. Give Joe Thomas a call. He's offering no-charge consultations that you can take advantage of no matter where you are in the United States. And after that no-charge consultation, he'll put together a custom proposal just for you. Here's his number, 561-743-0999. 561-743-0999. And if you missed the number, no problem. Just go to his website, jupiterjoe.com. jupiterjoe.com. All right, 2 hours down, 1 to go. It's the Steve Kane Show. My name is Brian Craig. We'll take our break for the top of the hour. Come back with Steve Kane and your calls. Don't go anywhere. Hey, what's going on? Well, there's a lot happening. Okay, I'll put you on hold for a minute and I'll pick you up. Hold on. All right, you there, Steve? Steve, you there? Hold on. Steve, you there?
Yes, I am.
Okay. We got about 2 minutes. All right. One minute.
Okay.
Use some energy, Stephen.
Hold on.
Just come and give me some.
Hold on. Everybody can hear you.
That's what I need.
Hold on.
Need another ice pack.
Okay.
Welcome back. I'm Brian. Steve Kane joining us. Hour number 3 has begun, and a lot's happened, Steve. So
That's for sure.
some of it good, some of it bad, but I'll go in the order in which what I started with today, which was absolutely beautiful and amazing, was President Trump reprimanding this racist, murdering South African president. Did you catch that yesterday?
Yes, I did.
Oh my goodness! That was better than when he dressed down Zelensky. I've never seen any president do anything even close to that before. I mean, that was
never a dull moment at our White House. That's for sure.
Well, it was more than that. I mean, this guy is overseeing a massacre of people just because of their skin color. He denied it happens, and as soon Trump really walked him down the garden path. And really got him good because everything was going kind of normal in that press conference for quite a while. And then the South African president denied this murdering of the white people. And that's when President Trump said, turn down the lights. I want to show you something. And he showed him the video of the mass graves of the white people and everything else. And then the South African president well, where is this? Where is this, President Trump? I mean, it was unbelievable. Then he had the articles. It was really amazing. I've never seen anything like it before. And I got to tell you, that is probably one of the most historic events that's ever happened. Not just with Trump. That was one of the most historic events with any president of the United States. I have never seen a president of the United States confront someone overseeing mass murders before like that, a world leader. Never happened before. And it was amazing. I was so proud of him watching that yesterday. I mean, it really was just a great moment. And yeah.
Well, the big bad, also on the good side, the big bad bill seems to have passed.
Well, they passed the big beautiful bill in the House. Now it's going to go to the Senate.
Well, when it passed in the House, I mean, it's fait accompli now, or what?
It was a fait accompli as soon as on election night when Trump beat Willie Brown's ex-girlfriend and alcoholic Kamala Harris. It was a done deal then. The big beautiful bill will pass and be signed into law by President Trump. You have nothing to worry about.
And it's going to include Social Security. No taxes on Social Security.
By the time Trump signs it, it will. It broke while we're on the air, so I don't know everything that's in it or not, because I've been on the air since 6. It didn't pass. It passed while I was on the air, so I don't know everything that's in it. But it's not the final bill. What passed in the House is not the final bill. It's going to go. I told you this yesterday. It's going to go to the Senate. They're going to make a bunch of changes, and then they're going to pass it. And then the House and the Senate get together for the reconciliation talks, and they'll make more changes, and then they vote again, and then they send it to Trump. It will have it in there before Trump signs it, if it's not in there already. So don't worry about it.
I sure hope you're right.
No, don't worry about it. Got nothing to worry about. Why would you worry with Trump in office? Nothing to worry about at all. But I'll tell you this. Meeting with the president of South Africa yesterday is going to be the beginning of something huge. I mean, you know,
Where does it go? Where does the story go from here?
Oh, Steve, that exchange in the Oval Office was seen throughout the entire world, and the massacre of the white farmers in South Africa, while it's been going on for years, really has gotten no press coverage. I've been reading.
I had no idea what was going on. I was shocked by the whole thing.
I've been reading about it for years, but in obscure conservative websites like WorldNet Daily, it's never been in the mainstream. And you saw yesterday, after Trump showed the video, that reporter from NBC News immediately jumped in and tried to change the subject into the plane from Qatar.
Well, he was playing gotcha with Donald.
So the media,
never a good idea.
See, liberal media, liberals, even white liberals, believe that it's okay to kill white people. They think white people should be killed because of things that happened before any of us were born. So and so the media have covered that story up for over a decade. It's been going on for 20 years in South Africa and getting worse all the time. I mean, I did not know that they had, until I saw the video yesterday. I mean, I knew about it going on, but I didn't know that they would meet in their massive stadiums and they would be filled. There wouldn't be an empty seat, and they were cheering on murdering white people. I didn't know it was that bad, and I kind of thought it was.
No idea of the scale of it until yesterday.
No, I mean it's you know, the difference between a gang murdering people, which killing's always bad, but I thought it was just kind of like roving gangs doing things here and there. I didn't realize, you know, what they have is an operation like the Nazis had with the Holocaust. They've got a whole infrastructure and everything else dedicated to doing this. And they feel justified in doing it, like it's their blood right to do it. And this president's behind. He had a couple of token white people with him. There's nothing in it. None of this is happening, President Trump. But that was, he has one token.
White golfers.
We had a golfer, a billionaire, he had a white golfer, a white billionaire who's the richest man in South Africa, and then he had a white guy who's a member of his cabinet. Okay? What I would call those guys are collaborators, or maybe their families are being held hostage somewhere in South Africa, one or the other. But you can always find a collaborator or someone whose family is being held hostage. I mean, that is just nonsense. In fact, if you go back and watch the video of the meeting, when President Trump is showing the video, one of the South African president's aides taps the South African vice president and points to the white billionaire behind him because they knew he was going to, and there's nothing to see here. And they thought because he's white, we would all accept it. No. It's happening, and when President Trump showed those mass graves, I had no idea how large of a thing it was. I thought it was. I knew that the farmers were living in fear, but and some were being killed. I didn't realize how many, and I thought it was just kind of a random thing that happened once or twice a year. I didn't realize it's an ongoing thing happening pretty much every day. I didn't realize that. And there's about 7 million whites in South Africa. I think we should offer refugee status to all white people in South Africa who were vetted and are not criminals, and allow them here. President Trump said a lot are going to Australia and some other countries. I think there should be a white evac from South Africa, and let's let these monsters over there have their country, and they probably move on to killing each other when they don't have white people. But these are true, MSNBC are having meltdowns. I was watching Jen Psaki last night, was just appalled at the way the President Trump treated the South African head of state. How could he do this? Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
I mean, my goodness, he's overseen a massacre. And he's endorsed this massacre. What Trump did was the right. And the NBC reporter in the White House at the White House during the meeting says, "Well, if they're committing genocide, why have them here?" He asked, like 5 times. And the reason President Trump had them there was to expose them. But they keep making these comparisons. Well, what about the refugees in Latin America? Those are not refugees. They call them climate refugees. There's no such thing as a climate refugee. Okay, that's a made-up thing. These are true refugees that are not just being discriminated against, they're being murdered. And I imagine they do some terrible things to them before they murder them, especially the women and the girls, okay? You think they just go in there and put them out of their misery quickly? I doubt it. There's too much anger towards white people. So I think we should offer refugee status to all vetted white South Africans. I mean, if you're white in South Africa, get out of there. Why would you be there? I mean, it's got to be terrifying. Maybe I don't know, but I'd get out of that country. And with the left, they make everything racist and racial. Oh well, you just want them here because they're white. If there were massacres going on like that in South America, we'd be sympathetic and put a stop to that too. But no, I think we should make them all refugees. Now, I want to tell everyone though, this is a very important question. Do you or someone you know suffer from neuropathy? Oh man, you did, Steve, for quite a while. And
that's for sure.
Neuropathy. I think the best way to describe it is it's living torture, right? It never ends. It's 24 hours a day. It's painful. You're dizzy. You've got the tingling in the hands and the feet. I mean, there's burning sensations involved. Your doctors will tell you there's no treatment. There is a treatment at Lighthouse Medical in Pompano. And not only do they have a treatment, they have a treatment for neuropathy that works and a treatment that lasts. You had your treatment, Steve, like maybe 3 years ago now. Going on 3 years, and I don't know the exact anniversary date, but it's around. I think it's 3 years about now. I think we're about to hit that 3-year mark, and I remember you had your treatment. It was a Thursday or a Friday. I can't remember, and I remember, but I talked to you on the phone on Saturday, and you told me it was you either had it on Thursday or Friday. I talked to you on Saturday, and you were already feeling better. Which was, I was like, wow, it's crazy. And here we are 3 years later, your neuropathy symptoms have not returned. So Lighthouse Medical, they have a neuropathy treatment that works and it lasts. So give them a call. Now, it's a free consultation if you mention you heard about them on the Steve Kane Show. Also, no matter where you're located, they can help you, no matter where you're located in the United States. So give them a call, 754-222-6642. 754-222-6642, and online, lighthousemedicalcenter.com. Okay, we'll take our first break of the third hour and be right back. Oh, I'm going to put you on hold, Steve. Hold on. All right, Steve, you there?
Yes, I am.
All right, hold on. Okay, 2 minutes. We'll be back. 2 minutes. If you're on hold, hang in there. We'll be back in about a minute.
All right.
Just over a minute. If you're on hold, hang in there. Thirty seconds.
I'm here.
All right, stand by. Welcome back, everyone. You're listening to the Steve Kane Show. Steve Kane's here. I'm Brian. You want to go to the phone, Steve?
Yes, let's
Okay,
do
there's
it.
a lot more going on, but let's take a call or two. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, my name is Kevin. I'm calling from Texas.
All right, Kevin in Texas. What's on your mind?
Hey, so I actually just saw your show going through YouTube,
Uh-huh.
the little YouTube live shorts.
Uh-huh.
I don't want to say I necessarily take exception with what you said about like U.S. immigrations in relations to the South Africans. I mean, I agree that what's happening to the white South Africans is horrible. The situation there, obviously, for years has been really tense and really palpably intolerant because of apartheid and whatever else. And you see this pattern of like intense retaliatory militant behavior after a group of people come out of oppression. You kind of see that happening in Israel and Palestine as well. I don't disagree with the notion that, especially like in the moderate left, in the mainstream media, you see a lot of people saying that the right-wing rhetoric on this issue as opposed to other immigration issues is strictly because this is dealing with white people. I think that's a really surface level take. However, do you not see how maybe when the Trump administration has said different things about how we view political refugees, how we view immigration at large, how it's not the most outrageous thing in the world where, you know, suddenly now we're having a more nuanced conversation because white people are involved. Obviously, that's not the reality.
No, the reason. Okay, I'll answer your question, but why do you think all of a sudden President Trump has the presidency so focused on South Africa and the murdering of white people? Why do you think that's all of a sudden front and center?
That's what I'm trying to I would like your perspective.
It's obvious what happened. It's obvious what happened. Most people in this country don't know that that's been going on for years. Most people don't.
And that's because the media has left us in the dark.
And yes, that's right. And President Trump's best friend, the first bud, the head of Doge, the richest man in the world, Elon Musk, is an immigrant from South Africa and has obviously made President Trump well aware of what's going on in South Africa. And President Trump looked into it and was disgusted. And they had this trip coming up with the South African president coming over here to get his money and foreign aid. You heard him yesterday. Even after President Trump showed in the mass graves, he was asking Trump for money. So Elon Musk's influence has brought something that most people, including the president, weren't aware of front and center. That's why.
Sure, yeah, and I don't disagree that we should, this is definitely a situation that warrants intervention. I guess a further question I would have is where do we draw the line between what we deem ethical to interject ourselves in, or
well,
not?
you're talking about the illegals from Latin America. Here's the deal.
No, absolutely.
Well, who are you talking about then? Who are you talking about?
We're talking about marginalized marginalized people that should become refugees, right? So where they're in a system where they're being, not so much that they want new opportunities.
You got to be more specific. Who are marginalized people? I'm marginalized. I got to work. Most of us that work for a living have to work like till June or July to pay our taxes. I'm marginalized. I mean, who are you talking about? You're using.
Well, I was about to say you could look at a situation like the Uyghur people in China, where that's a situation we're well aware of.
Well, we can't take in everybody. We can't. President Trump's trying to bring about the.
I don't disagree with that. I don't disagree with that notion. So what I'm saying
notion.
To you is,
oh my goodness, another college boy.
We can't take in everybody, which again is a sentiment.
But that doesn't because we can't take in everybody doesn't mean we should take in nobody.
Right, and I don't disagree with that as well. So here's what I'm saying to you, right? I'm going to repeat the sort of crux of my point. I don't disagree with the idea that we should be selective about who we take in. I agree that this is a situation that warrants American intervention. We need to be involved with this crisis that's happening in South Africa. I just repeated to you a similar situation, right, where...
Well, there's a... Okay, hold on a second. There's a difference... Slow down. Why do you think we would intervene in this oppression in South Africa, but not China? What does China have that South Africa doesn't?
That's what I'm asking you. I'm
gonna tell you if you can't figure it out. What does China have that South Africa does not?
Resources, I guess, would be a good.
They have nuclear weapons, a powerful army, navy, and air force. South Africa is a third world, less than third world. It's a tribal anarchy. They got nothing. So it's easy. We can help these white South Africans. It's more difficult. We can't go into China and start helping them at that level, like we can South Africa. We've got juice with South Africa.
But you can't say that, can you?
I just said it. You can't pick a fight. You can't pick with China. With China,
so why there do we feel like we can interject ourselves and intervene without fear?
In China, in China, I'm trying to answer your question, but you have to stop talking. Okay, in China, you can condemn it and point it out, but you can't do much about it. South Africa, that has no army or nuclear weapons, and they're financially dependent on the United States. That guy was begging Trump for money yesterday on television. We've got juice with them, and we can actually effectively and peacefully do something about it. That's why.
So your logic is the U.S. should only intervene in situations where it could provably make a difference.
Well, yeah, you don't want to go into a country and cause a third world nuclear war.
Well, this isn't a gotcha. I'm asking.
I didn't say a gotcha. You couldn't get me if you tried. China has nuclear weapons. They have nuclear weapons and an army. You don't start a world war over the oppressed people of China.
And again, I don't disagree with that. I was just asking for the rationale between them.
I gave it to you. Doesn't that make sense to you? Didn't your college professor teach you that?
We're going around in circles here.
I agree with you, Steve. I agree. I agree with that. I agree with that. Hold on a second here. We've got the phones are ringing off the hook, Steve. All right, you back with us, Steve?
Yes.
Okay. I think I made a good point. He was just going around in circles. I agree with you. You know what? We got time for another call. What the heck? Let's go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Brian. Never Trumper Steve here, Palm City.
Oh, hey.
Steven, how are you?
I'm okay, Steve. What's going on?
Same old.
So, say okay. Brian, you started the show off this morning with being proud of Trump's display or ambush, really, in the Oval Office again, number 2.
Beautiful. It was beautiful. Yes, it was beautiful.
Yeah, no wonder we have so few friends left around the world. What leader of a country that has any controversy, who's going to want to come into the Oval Office with that display?
Well, now, hold on. You asked a question. Let me answer it. I don't want to be friends with someone who's overseeing the murder of people because of their skin color. I'm selective on who my friends are.
You led me. Thank you for the lead-in.
Oh, okay. He's going to take me down now.
Audience, I invite your audience to Google a lot more of what you say generally. But when you Google this white genocide thing, which you obviously believe from what you just said, the summary on Google, it's all of 3 lines. While the video shown in the Oval Office did depict crosses along a road in South Africa, they were not burial sites as claimed by Trump, but rather a symbolic representation used in a protest. And as far as the genocide goes of white farmers in South Africa, they are widely disputed and considered to be false.
Yeah,
now,
yeah.
That's the reality.
Yeah. Okay, no, it's not the
That's
reality. Now, so far as the crosses, they are, it's like here in South Florida, there's these crosses all over where people have died in car accidents. It doesn't mean no one died. It's representative of them. Those crosses are representative of murdered white people.
Yeah, and murdered black people too.
No,
which you don't
no,
mention.
no,
There's
white
more blacks
people.
murdered than whites.
Well, there's the reason
You don't
that
think white
is
people get murdered?
the reason that is there's more black people there, so more black people will die.
Yes, and they don't just take over farmland. They're a democracy like we are. They have
You know,
to go before
I
a
gotta
church
tell
to
you,
someone's
Steve,
land.
talking to you about this, you know, Steve, it goes back to that thing. We've had 75 years of discussion. How did the Holocaust happen? You're hearing it right here. You got this idiot on the phone here who's making excuses for tribal barbarians, borderline cannibals that are murdering people because they're white, and they have.
You are making that up. Google.
I'm not going to Google. I watched the video that the president showed in the Oval Office of the South African tribal murderers.
Yeah,
I'm not going to Google.
An opposition group. Yeah. That video of them on stage was an opposition group. That's why.
They filled up an entire arena. It was like Invictus. They filled up an entire
If we
arena.
Get back to the white genocide. White genocide, which you believe happens there, is unproven and not true.
Listen.
But
You know what you sound like. You know what you sound. You sound like a Holocaust denier. You know that? You sound like an idiot. A Holocaust denier. Yeah.
Hardly.
Yeah.
My father was a Holocaust survivor. So
Ah.
you got a lot of
No,
nerve
I
to
said,
say that.
yeah, you sound
You've
like a
got
Holocaust.
lot of nerve.
What does that
Goodbye.
mean? Oh, that's your cowardly way out? Oh, my goodness. All right, Steve, well, I'm going to put you on hold. We'll take our break for the bottom, all right? Don't go anywhere. If you're on hold, hang in there. It's the Steve Kane Show. We'll be right back. Steve, you there? Steve, you there? Hey, I lost you. You there? Okay, hold on. All right, you there, Steve?
Yes.
Okay, hold on. I can't believe it. Walking people in the ovens. Their new thing that it's not happening, that's not going to fly. That's just insane to me. Just insane.
Who?
Yep. Yeah, we got a couple minutes left. We're still in break. You there, Steve? No, lost Steve. Yeah, you hung up. Hold on. Okay. Are you there? Steve?
Hello?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
No, you're cutting in and out.
Okay, hold on.
There's
Okay.
no vitamin.
You there now?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay, stand by. We got a couple minutes. We'll be back. It's the bottom of the hour break.
Okay.
2 minutes. There's one opening on the board. This argument they have that it's not happening, that's not going to fly. I mean, my goodness, it's not happening. Unbelievable.
Hello?
Yep, we're in break still.
Okay.
Someone asked me during the break, why am I rude to Mike from Louisiana? Because he has nothing to say when he calls. And, you know, all he does is repeat what I have said prior to his call. You know Mike from Louisiana, Steve?
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, he's a nice guy, but he's a terminal caller. And, you know what? He knows it, too. Just because we take calls doesn't mean we hand the show over to people with nothing to say. 1 minute. Oh my goodness. Doesn't mean he's not a nice guy. He's just he's one of the worst callers I think we've ever had on the show, and that's saying a lot. But nice guy. I mean, 30 seconds. All right, we're back. It's the Steve Kane Show. I'm Brian Craig. Steve Kane is here. You know, Never Trumper Steve, who ran like a little girl. If their argument is going to be, there's no massacre of white farmers going on in South Africa, Google it. It's not happening. They're in big trouble. I mean, my goodness. I mean, it's just... All right, you want to take some more calls, Steve? The phones are ringing off the hook.
Sounds good.
Okay, now there's a couple other things, too. If you're on hold, hang in there. Your thoughts on the big, beautiful bill passage in the House are certainly welcome, because I know some people are upset about that, and that's an important topic too. But also, I don't know if you saw it yesterday, Steve. Marco Rubio filleted those Democrats. Yeah. I mean, he was like the maestro, and
What a story, yeah.
And now again, we're a long way off. But I think Marco Rubio is the front runner to be the second MAGA president, not J.D. Vance.
It's certainly shaping up that way.
Yeah, and there's a story out today that for the first time in history, Miami-Dade County has majority registered Republicans over Democrats. That's never happened before.
Wow.
And that's Marco Rubio's hometown. And that means he's got Florida locked up. Florida is one of the most important states. So I love Marco. He's been on the show. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, how's it going, Brian? Name's Cade. I'm from Phoenix, Arizona.
Uh-huh.
I wanted to talk for two things, actually. You were talking about, of course, South Africa, and I heard about the big, beautiful bill. First, on that last one, it is happening. People calling in saying, "Oh my gosh, look at the history. Rhodesia, South Africa, it's the same thing. We've seen what happened in Rhodesia. There's a big war, big support from UK, a lot of European countries to make a black rule in what is now Zimbabwe. My bad, whatever you want to call it today. But the truth is that South Africa is on a fast track to become the next Zimbabwe. In fact, it's basically there. I mean, it might as well be there now.
Well, and I'll tell you, some people are saying it's not genocide. They're not wiping out all blacks. No, there's a ethnicity, these Afrikaners, that are South African of Dutch descent. And there's no doubt that they are looking to wipe them out of the gene pool. And the most famous South African next to Elon Musk is Charlize Theron, the actress. And I wish she would speak out in favor of what Trump's doing here, because the plight of these white South Africans has been going on for 20 years, and no one's addressed it until really yesterday.
Well, I mean, when you say what Trump's doing, what is Trump doing?
Well, he's cutting them off financially. South Africa, they came here to get their yearly check from the United States that supports them. That's why they were here. And they're not getting their money. They can't function without it. It's going to collapse. So he's. Yeah, go ahead.
So you're completely right. We've been giving money to Africa for ages. I mean, the last 40 plus years. Who knows how long? You can fact check me on that. But we've been giving them money all the time. We give these money to these developing countries. Well, it shouldn't really be developing countries with how much money we've given them. But the fact is that, people can argue with this and they can say, oh my gosh, it's so racist, how we say it. Africa was better under European control. If you look at it historically, they gave them trains, they gave them electricity, they gave them the modern technology we think about today. And then as they're all, we have to decolonialize, they leave these countries turn into wrecks. They don't understand how to keep up with this system.
Well, you make some good points there, and I keep hearing from American blacks that every invention came out of Africa: writing, the wheel, fire, whatever. And I don't know what happened to all that civilization. It's chaotic. It's an anarchy.
You're completely right there. They have the resources. That's the thing. Africa has the resources. They have all the metals underground. They are, the breadbasket. They have all these things. They just don't take advantage.
Listen, this isn't true of just. You go around the world, the Middle East. You go to South America. Western civilization is where everything's at in this country. You go around the. I mean, the guy was calling about China. China's a disaster. Japan's doing fine, but only because we westernized it, just like South Korea. Okay, and that's just the reality of it. Their problems aren't Europe or America. Their problems are themselves. And I could not believe, Steve, that even after President Trump showed that video and the articles, all that president kept doing was asking Trump for money, just nonstop, over and over and over. It was so bizarre, and he's not getting it.
Obviously, one, not wanting to approach the very clear problem in his country. He doesn't want to admit that he's wrong. That's a bad look. But at the same time,
I thought he was going to walk out when Trump put the video on. I thought he was going to walk out, and then and I couldn't believe he was with the crosses. He says, "Oh, Mr. President, where is that?" Like he doesn't know about it. It's a tiny country. Of course, he knows exactly where it is. He's probably been there. But he stayed because he wants his check. It's that time of year again. Send us our yearly, stipend. I couldn't believe it. And they bring in those token whites, those collaborators, Mr. President, I'm the richest man in South Africa. I'm white. None of this is happening. Give me a break. Disgusting.
Yeah, I try and, this will be a topic of contention for sure. If America doesn't do something, Europe is in the same boat too. All
right, appreciate the
call. Way late on the break.
No, we're out of the break, Steve. We came out of the break.
We're out of the break?
Yeah, we're moving towards another one soon, though. Yeah, we're out of the break. We're not late yet. Okay, you're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Steve and Brian. Good morning, JJ from Mass.
Hey, JJ.
Good morning, Steve. I'm going to speak up this time, Steve. This South Africa thing is you're right, Brian. I've been reading about it the same way that you have for the past 15 plus years, and the research I put in on South Africa is basically we all know apartheid and the problems that were that, but ever since then they've been a slow roll of of communism, and I mean, sort of a Democrat dream in a way. I mean, they yell this "kill the Boer, kill the farmer" thing. It, to me, is very reminiscent of, college kids on U.S. campuses screaming.
Listen, the reason the media and the left don't want this addressed is they think those people deserve to be killed. Let's face it, right? I mean, that's it. I mean, they feel they're owed this because of apartheid, which apartheid ended like 35 years ago.
Yeah, it's basically they've turned it into very slowly. They've turned it into sort of a
I got to tell you,
a Democrat Jim Crow. It's like a Democrat Jim Crow.
Exactly in reverse. It is worse. It's worse than Jim Crow. But I see the comparison. But we have a responsibility to fix it because it's happening because the United States ended apartheid. We put pressure on South Africa and ended apartheid. It turned into this. So we got involved. We should have let them work it out on their own. We gotta help these people because these white farmers are in the position they are because of Ronald Reagan and George Bush.
The farmers, without a doubt, and other businesses as well, Brian. I mean, I know a little bit about this because I did a lot of research on the businesses there many years ago, and they basically, from utilities to the trains, I mean, they turned their state into this socialistic, communistic, clown zone. I mean, they're more of a kleptocratic society.
Listen, I gotta run for the break, but I appreciate the call. All right, okay, we're gonna take our break, and then when we get back, we'll have the gold report. But Steve, I want to talk about Coastal Weight Loss Secret. Yesterday I was telling you guys I was wearing my belt, and because my pants are falling off because I've lost so much weight, and if I don't have a belt, and I'm holding them up now because I don't have my belt on. I've lost several inches off my waist. And what happened yesterday, I didn't want to talk about this during the show, but I had my 38 in my pocket yesterday morning. And before I left the house, I put my 38 in the pocket, and my pants came down to my ankles. So I was like, oh, better put the belt on. You know what I mean? It was a good tell. And I've got my 38 is the ultralight 38. That's hammerless. And I put the belt on to hold my pants up. With that in my pants, that was it. But I have lost. I didn't measure my waist before. I'll find out when I buy new pants eventually because I'm still losing some weight. Because I know I'm not going to tell you guys what my pre-weight loss weight was or my waistline, okay? I'm sorry, I'm a little vain. But I've lost multiple inches off of my waist thanks to Coastal Weight Loss Secret. And a lot of people are asking me about exercise. Not only am I not exercising, I'm not walking either. A lot of people, they do steps every day. I don't do any of that. I am doing zero exercise. Now, if I exercised, I would have lost the weight faster. But I was losing about 1 pound a day. So how much do I want to lose? 1 pound a day and no exercise, no medications, and I'm eating food I would normally eat? 1 pound a day seems all right. One of the reasons Coastal Weight Loss Secret works so well is I didn't have to change my lifestyle. I didn't have to if I had to exercise every day, I would have failed. If I had to eat yucky food or little tiny bits of food it would have failed, okay? Okay, but no exercise, eating food I would normally eat, and no prescription medications like Ozempic. I want to highlight that because every day I look in the news, I've heard it, Ozempic face, Ozempic tongue. I saw a story today about Ozempic teeth. I don't know, oh boy, I don't have any of that because I'm not taking something like that, and I've lost all of this weight, and you can too. Give Coastal Weight Loss Secret a call. When you call, make sure you tell them you heard about them on the True Oldies channel. 561-247-6300. 561-247-6300. And online, coastalweightlossecret.com. All right, we'll be back with the Gold Report. Hey, hold on. Steve, do I got you? Steve?
Hello?
Yep, hang in there, Steve.
can't hear you, Brian.
Okay. What about now?
I can hear you now.
Yeah. See, the phone you're using is not the normal phone you use. A lot of the problem is the phone.
I'm using my phone.
I know. We usually use the other phone. I'm going to conference in William. Okay, hold on.
Oh.
All right, William. We got less than a minute. Stand by.
Okay.
30 seconds.
Hello?
Yeah, hold on, Steve. 15 seconds.
Hello?
All right, Steve, hold on. All right, we're back. And it's time to check in with William Youngerman from the offices of William Youngerman Incorporated with the Morning Gold and Precious Metals Report. William Youngerman, how are the metals looking today?
Metals looking good after several days of nice gains, putting gold back over the $3,300 number. Yesterday we saw gold trade in the range of $3,289 all the way up to $3,325 the ounce, closing out the day at $3,313.50. That was up $23.30. Silver gained 28 cents at $33.33 the ounce. Platinum gained $18, $1,073 on the close, and palladium was up $6, closing out the day at $1,008. Overnight, we saw gold trade in a range of $3,280 all the way up to $3,346. Right now, we're at $3,305. That's down $8.50, giving us a little bit of a buying opportunity. After the nice gains we've seen, we would expect a little profit taking here. Silver down 33 cents at $33. Platinum up $7 at $1,080. Platinum has really been moving along. And palladium down $6 at $1,002. So the markets are very stable and small pullbacks giving us a buying opportunity.
You know, these numbers are just amazing. I mean, what is the new baseline for gold? Is it 3,000? Is it 3,300? Is it 32? I mean, what do you think?
Right now, gold's showing good strength around that 3,200 support level, 3,180 to 3,200.
Yeah.
And we went down there and touched those numbers a couple times, and then have come back pretty quickly.
Yeah, and this is amazing. And every day when I look so forward to the Gold and Precious Metals Report, these numbers are amazing. And remember, guys, gold is available in fractional gold. Can you tell people a little bit about that? Because a lot of over $3,000 for an ounce is great, but a lot of people may not have $3,000, but that's okay because you have gold in pretty much in everyone's budget.
Yeah, we do. We sell gold in the bars as for as small as 1 gram bars, and gold in the coinage form is popular in the 1/10 ounce gold sizes. So there's 1/10 ounce, quarter ounce, half ounce, and 1 ounce size coins of several different countries you can buy, of course, including the United States.
Yeah, and those 1/10 ounce gold coins, I love those. Okay, you get 10 of them, you got an ounce. But if you need some money for something, you got it in the 10th ounce size, you don't have to unload as much gold necessarily if you just need a little bit of money, right? So, I guess that's why they're so popular.
Yes, that's true. It's a way of building a portfolio when you don't have $3,300 to start with.
Exactly.
So it's amazing.
Exactly. Okay, well, listen, William Youngerman opens up at 10 a.m. Stop in. His address, 150 East Palmetto Park Road in Boca, on the first floor of the Bank of America building, just east of US 1 Federal Highway on the south side of Palmetto Park Road. Or give him a call toll-free, 1-800-327-5010. 1-800-327-5010. And find both his address and phone number online at williamyoungerman.com. All right, William Youngerman, we'll finish out the week tomorrow.
Okay, have a great day.
All right, take care. All right, we're going to go back to the phones, but, I got to tell you, Steve, sometimes things are going to be controversial, right? Like something happens in the news, and that liberals are going to be opposed to Roe v. Wade being overturned by the Supreme Court. But for the life of me, I got to tell you, I am shocked that liberals are not in favor of ending the murdering of people, innocent families, in South Africa. And I've been here for 3 hours almost with liberal after liberal making excuses for the murders of these white South Africans. And that surprises me a little bit, I must say. All right, back to the phones we shall go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
My name is Chris James. I'm a be professional. I'm not a Trump supporter.
Turn down the volume of, hold on, Chris, turn down the volume of whatever device you're listening to us on in the back. All right?
I'm a liberal. Yes, I am.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I call all y'all. Know why? Because y'all let a felon play. How y'all voted for this? You knew this man committed a lot of crimes. You knew this man is a felon.
Who?
And you still support. Let me tell you something.
Who?
Let me tell you something.
Who's the felon? Who's the felon?
Let me talk. You're not going to talk over me. Republicans back in my time growing up in the 90s and the 80s never wore hats. Bush Republicans never wore hats. I think Reagan was a Republican. They never wore hats.
You think?
Y'all worship Trump. Y'all worship him. Like I said, I'm a big professional because I am a professional.
Well, if you were being professional, you would let other people speak. You understand? Excuse me, Chris. You understand that Steve and I are letting you speak.
President Obama. President Obama. President Obama. President Obama. President Obama. President Obama. I'm gonna say President Obama.
This is Trump derangement syndrome, man. This is sad.
How was it joking about what you gotta say?
Tell us
about. You be putting words in my mouth, Steve. That's the rhetoric. That's the deflection.
Tell us.
I didn't say your president name. I said Obama. You can't hear.
Tell us how you feel about the murder of the white farmers in South Africa.
I don't give a fuck about that.
All right, okay. First time we had to use the dump button today. Oh boy, I lost Steve with that one. We had oh boy, Mike. Well, I thought we were going to get through the whole show without a dump button. And for those that didn't catch it, I said, tell us how you feel about the murder of the white farmers in South Africa. He says, I don't give an F about that. Oh boy, Mike. I thought we were going to get through a whole show without the dump button, but that didn't happen. If you're on hold, stand by as we wait for the delay to re-engage. I'm going to take this moment to talk about Dr. Appleton and his laser away pain treatment. Come August, it will be 3 years since Dr. Appleton rid me of pain for the first time. That was the knee pain. And I went in on it. I remember it like it was yesterday, 3 years ago, because I suffered for 30 years with this pain. I went in on a Thursday, got my first treatment with Dr. Appleton. It was the first time I met him. I went for a follow-up treatment the Saturday after that. And by the way, Saturday morning, I woke up, my knee was already feeling better. Went in for my follow-up treatment on Saturday. And then Monday, I got up to come to work and the pain was gone. And it'll be 3 years in August and the pain is not returned. His laser wave pain treatment works. Dr. Appleton performs all the treatments himself. There's no shots, no drugs, no downtime, no surgery, and no appointment necessary. Walk-ins are welcome even on Saturdays. And the laser treatment works on every type of pain I've ever heard of. Arthritis, bursitis, neck pains, back pains, tinnitus, sciatica, fibromyalgia, plantar fasciitis, chronic pain, acute pain, rotary tears. Did I mention arthritis? That was one of the things he rid me of. It's absolutely amazing. Give Dr. Appleton a call. Take advantage of the no-charge consultation. And don't forget, if you've got x-rays or scans, bring them with you. He'll gladly look at them for you, okay? 954-973-0710. 954-973-0710. And online, AppletonCairo.com. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Brian. My name's Jason Levy from Canada, Manitoba, in the center of Canada. How you doing today?
All right, Manitoba.
Sounds good. I'm the opposite of TDS. I am envious of the movements that.
Really, you don't think you have you don't being a Canadian, a Manitoba? I would imagine you do have TDS, Trudeau syndrome.
We're under a total media control. Where even if I share a post from YouTube, it gets blocked.
Well, you're not in a free country. You know, a lot of people think because Canada speaks English and you have an accent similar to ours, although you don't, that you're free, like we are in America, and that's not the case.
That's correct. So the best thing I did, like during COVID, I shut off the tube. I shut off regular TV because I knew I was being lied to, and it caused division in my family.
Well, listen, I'm short on time, and I got a lot of people on hold. What'd you call about today?
I'm calling to say that I support your channel and keep up the. We need to have these dialogues, and with our liquor system here, American booze is still banned. And
what is it with the Canadians' obsession with alcohol? That's all of you guys are always. You got an alcoholic problem up there?
I think we do because we're living in the minus temperatures for most of the year.
Maybe. Hey, listen, I appreciate the call. All right, appreciate the call. All right, you're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
My name's Gavin. I'm from Texas.
Okay. You called me. What's on your mind?
You were talking about the South African genocide.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not conservative. I'm not MAGA. My problem is when our president is saying that there's a genocide when there's really not. I mean, there's just a lot of crime in South Africa.
No, they're actually targeting white farm owners and murdering the entire families and then taking over the land.
Yeah, I mean, they are targeting white farm owners. They're also targeting farms because they're easy targets.
Well, most of the farms are owned by white people until they kill them and then they take them. All right, appreciate the call. I mean, more excuses for murder. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Brian from Deerfield.
30 seconds.
Hey, Brian, hi, Steve. How are you today?
30 seconds.
That situation, congratulations to President Trump, because he's the only one that shined a spotlight on that situation over there, which is a disgrace. If you can have a rally in the state in which is either culturally acceptable or politically acceptable, that was a genocide rally is what it was. Do we know how big that check was they were coming to pick up?
It must have been a big one because he kept asking for it. I mean, nonstop.
I think we made that part of Doge and cut it down to zero. They don't deserve it.
I think they get nothing. And we offer all of their vetted white farmers, all vetted white South Africans, refugee status somewhere in the civilized world. All right, we're out of time for today. Listen, tomorrow is Friday. That means open phones, open MAGA Mike Friday. On tomorrow's show, you can call in about any and everything on your mind. I'm Brian. It's the Steve Kane Show. Of course, Steve's been here. We'll see you tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. Take care, everyone. God bless America, and God bless Donald Trump. Well, listen, guys. Thanks for tuning in. If you're new, subscribe, all right? And if you're already subscribed, please like the video and share it, all right? I'll see you.